Chapter 488. 488 Tin Square Mountain. Hua Qi kill. Oh. Lu Ming nodded at Hua Qi at the same time. A surge of essential core flowed into Hua Qi's body. Hua Qi felt his body fill with energy. Old man, go to hell. Hua Qi shouted and charged at Heavenly King Zhen. You're the one who's going to die. Seeing that there was no way out, Heavenly King Zhen revealed a fierce look in his eyes. With a wave of his hand, a broad combat sword appeared in his hand and he slashed at Hua Qi. The Heavenly Suppression King's cultivation was not weak. He had reached the 7th level of the Martial Ancestor realm. Hua Qi was only a 9th grade Great Martial Master, and had yet to break through to the Martial Ancestor realm. However, Hua Qi's sword contained Lu Ming's Essential Core. Essential Core was many times more powerful than Essential Qi. Moreover, it was Lu Ming's Essential Core. Puchi! Hua Qi's sword had destroyed all of Heavenly King Zhen's attacks and split him and his sword in half. Heavenly King Zhen dead. Ha ha ha, father, did you see that? Your son has finally avenged you. Hua Qi knelt on the ground and laughed loudly. As he laughed, tears continued to flow. It was as if he wanted to release all the hatred that had been pent up in his heart. Lu Ming did not say anything. He just watched quietly at the side. Hua Jia, don't leave. Suddenly there was a loud roar. Lu Ming took a look and revealed a smile. It turned out that Hua Jia had wanted to take the opportunity to escape, but he had been captured by some ministers. At this moment, the Heavenly King had already died, and the officials had no loyalty left. They wanted to take out their hearts and express their feelings to Hua Qi. So how could they let Hua Jia escape? No, let me go, let me go. Hua Jia shouted in fear. Hua Jia, I'll send you to your father. Hua Qi's sword was dripping with blood as he walked toward Hua Jia. Don't kill me, don't. Hua Jia shrieked. Then a foul smell came out. This guy actually peed his pants again. A hint of killing intent appeared in Hua Qi's eyes. The sword in his hand flashed, and Hua Jia's cry came to an abrupt end. 8th Prince, I welcome you back to the palace. Your humble servant respectfully welcomes the 8th Prince back to the palace. All of the officials knelt down. Hua Qi's eyes were like lightning as he looked around. Everyone kept quiet out of fear, not even daring to breathe loudly. They were afraid that Hua Qi would kill them. The atmosphere at the scene seemed to freeze. All of you, gather the troops and take control of all of the Heavenly King's accomplices, troops and families, Hua Qi said after a long while. Hua Qi did not kill these people. Although they were detestable, they were the only ones who could keep the Blazing Sun Empire running. If he killed them all, who would help him? Yes, this lowly subject will immediately do so. 8th Prince, leave this matter to this lowly official. The civil and military officials all rushed to agree, and then left in a hurry. What a joke. This was a good opportunity to express his feelings to Hua Qi, who would miss it. Soon, some of the ministers with heavy military forces retreated. The rest of the people were powerless civil officials who looked at Hua Qi and Lu Ming helplessly. Marquis Champion, please. Hua Qi waved his hand and said to Lu Ming. Lu Ming smiled and sat at a random table. As for Hua Qi, he sat on the seat where the Heavenly King had been. The other women knelt by the side, trembling. The civil officials also knelt on the ground and waited. Time passed and the imperial capital was in chaos. Countless soldiers and horses galloped forward, surrounding and annihilating the underlings of Heavenly King Zhen. There were battles everywhere. Buzz, buzz. Not long after, Lin Shui and the others arrived and appeared in the sky. Sect leader Lin, send some people to help us kill the Heaven Suppression King. Lu Ming told Lin Shui. All right. Lin Shui nodded, and then hundreds of martial grandmasters scattered around the imperial capital to help eliminate the Heaven Suppression King. With the addition of these experts, the remnants of the Heavenly King and those who were loyal to him were quickly killed. The entire imperial capital was filled with a massacre. Many ordinary people knew that the world had changed again. From now on, the imperial city was going to have a new ruler. When many people knew that it was the 8th Prince who had returned, they were all very happy. The period of time when they were under the Heavenly King's rule had not been easy. A day later, the battle in the imperial capital had ended. The imperial capital had completely fallen into Hua Qi's hands. 2 days later, the blood-red iron cavalry arrived to help Hua Qi take complete control of the imperial capital. He would leave the rest to Hua Qi. Lu Ming could not be bothered. Sect leader Lin, it's time to go to the 10-direction sword sect. Lu Ming said to Lin Shui in a courtyard. All right. Lin Shui's eyes were filled with madness and anticipation. He had been waiting for this day for too long. An hour later, nearly 100 people, led by Lu Ming, flew towards the omnipresent sword sect. The 10-direction sword sect was not far from the imperial capital. It was about 10,000 miles away. They arrived in about an hour. More than 100 people were floating above the 10-square mountain. Activate the sect protecting formation. Quickly activate the sect protecting formation. As soon as Lu Ming and the others arrived, a loud roar was heard from the 10-direction sword sect. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Light filled the entire school. Inscriptions flickered, forming a sect protecting formation that enveloped the school. Countless sword chi were moving around. This sect protecting formation was similar to the mystical sword sect's sect protecting formation, but it was more powerful and mysterious. It was obvious that the Shifang Sword School had already received the news. It seems that there are still many experts left in the 10-direction sword school. There's even a half-step king amongst them, Lin Shui and the others said. Everyone's gaze turned to Lu Ming. They could only rely on Lu Ming to break the sect-protecting formation of the omnidirectional sword sect. If they were to go, they wouldn't be able to break it in a short time. Who? Lu Ming's claw clenched in the air and a long spear was formed. Then, the long spear lashed out at the omnipresent sword sect. At the same time, the long spear rapidly grew to the size of a mountain and shot toward the 10-direction sword school. Block it! Block it! Roars of shock and anger came from the 10-direction sword sect. At the same time, the sect-protecting formation of the omnidirectional sword sect flickered madly. Several huge sword chi soared into the sky and blasted toward Lu Ming's spear radiance. However, as the spear radiance pressed down, the sword chi was crushed like tofu. Boom! The spear radiance heavily struck the sect-protecting formation of the 10-direction sword sect. Bang! Bang! Immediately, all the foundations of the sect-protecting formation in the Shifang sword sect exploded. Screams rang out as the people controlling the formation were killed by the backlash. With one move, the sect-protecting formation of the 10-direction sword sect was broken. Although they knew that Lu Ming's combat strength was shocking and that he was a peerless king, Lin Shui and the rest were still shocked to see this scene with their own eyes. And NBSP, Sect Leader Lin, I will leave the rest to you, Lu Ming said. Lu Ming had lost all interest in the following battles. All right, don't worry. Lin Shui nodded. They immediately charged in. This was a one-sided massacre. 90% of the 10-direction sword sect's experts had already died in the mystical sword sect. How could the remaining ones be a match for Lin Shui and the others? Blood chi filled the Shifang mountain. Chapter 489. 489 back to the Lu family again. However, Lin Shui and the others did not kill the innocent. They only killed the higher-ups of the 10-direction sword school. Oh, most of them were martial artists above the Great Martial Master realm. They didn't kill those below the Great Martial Master realm. That was because martial artists below the rank of a martial grandmaster were not a big threat. Very quickly, the 10-direction sword sect quieted down. Lu Ming looked at the omnipresent sword school calmly, his face expressionless. In the world of martial Tao, killing was a daily affair. Every day sects were destroyed and new sects rose. It was very normal. Lu Ming was silent for a moment. He then turned around and left in the air. Next, there was no need for him to make a move. Lin Shui and the rest were more than enough to take down Tiansha sect. Most of the upper echelons of the Heavenly Fiend sect had died in the mystical sword sect, so they could not stop Lin Shui and the others. Stepping on the air, Lu Ming traveled 1,000 miles in an instant and headed towards the mystical sword sect. Soon he returned to the mystical sword sect. Goldeneye, after this evolution, he's probably going to enter the king's realm. In the air in front of the mystical sword sex mountain gate, Lu Ming looked at the blood cocoon suspended in the air and fell into deep thought. Then Lu Ming moved and flew toward the depths of the mystical sword sect. Lu Ming arrived at Lu Yuntian's courtyard. Lu Yuntian and Li Ping were drinking tea and chatting. Now that Lu Ming had become a king and his name was known throughout the world, the two of them were very happy and always had smiles on their faces. "Father, mother." Lu Ming pushed the door open and entered, calling out softly, "Ming-er, you're back? Quickly sit down." Li Ping said with a smile. Lu Ming sat down. "Ming-er, why don't I see Miss Nianqing this time?" Li Ping asked. In the past, everyone knew that Xian Nianqing was always by Lu Ming's side. Later on, Xian Nianqing followed Lu Ming to take part in the Ditian Divine Guard assessment. Many people thought that Lu Ming and Xian Nianqing were a couple. Li Ping and Lu Yuntian were quite fond of Xian Nianqing, so they were naturally very concerned about him. "Father, mother, Miss Xie has other matters to attend to, so she didn't return to the Blazing Sun Empire," Lu Ming said. At the mention of Xian Nianqing, Lu Ming's eyes were filled with mixed emotions. He was very worried. Unfortunately, there were no clues at all. "Ming-er, did you guys fight? Sometimes a man should give in to a girl. You have to learn from your father," Li Ping said earnestly. "Cough, cough." By the side, Lu Yuntian coughed a few times. "Father, mother, it's nothing. Miss Xie is just busy." "Oh, that's right." With that, Lu Ming waved his hand and more than 10 jade bottles appeared on the table. "Father, mother, these pills can nourish the body, replenish blood and qi, and prolong life. Although they can't repair father's meridians, they can still have a nourishing effect," Lu Ming said. Naturally, Lu Yuntian and Li Ping kept the pills happily. They knew that Lu Ming had reached the martial king realm, so these pills were not of much use to him. From then on, Lu Ming would take time out to visit Lu Yuntian and Li Ping every day. He would spend the rest of his time cultivating. After entering the martial king realm, his understanding of martial arts had greatly improved. His comprehension of martial arts techniques was also greatly accelerated. Lu Ming had already cultivated the 9 dragons' heaven-treading steps to the limit of the 2nd step. 7 days later, he successfully cultivated the 3rd step. With 3 steps, the power of the 9 dragons' heaven-treading steps increased by more than 10 times, reaching the 6th level of the heaven-grade low-level martial technique. In terms of power, it was no weaker than the 3rd level of the 3 wonders of Dragon Mountain. Lu Ming had another killer move. During these 7 days, the Burning Sun Empire was in a state of shock. The 10 Direction Sword sect and the Heavenly Fiend sect were destroyed, and the 8th prince killed the Heavenly Suppression King and took back the imperial capital. Every single one of them was enough to shake the entire Blazing Sun Empire. The most shocking news was the return of the marquee champion Lu Ming, who had reached the martial king realm. Everyone was dumbfounded. After that, wherever the Mystic Essence Sword sect, Crimson Cloud Valley, and the imperial family's armies passed, the factions that belonged to the 10 Direction Sword sect and Heavenly Fiend sect surrendered. There was almost no intense battle. Half a month later, the entire Burning Sun Empire was under the control of the Mystical Sword sect, the Crimson Cloud Valley, and the royal family. The Blazing Sun Empire had been unified like never before. As the saying went, a country could not go a day without a ruler. At this moment, many people suggested that Hua Qi should inherit the throne and become the emperor of the Blazing Sun Empire. However, Hua Qi did not agree. He used the fact that the Blazing Sun Empire had just experienced a great war as an excuse to refuse. After 2 days, everyone tried to persuade Hua Qi again, but he still refused. At this moment, someone came to Lu Ming, hoping that he could persuade Hua Qi to ascend the throne. Lu Ming nodded and made a trip to the imperial capital. After that, the imperial family announced to the world that Hua Qi would officially ascend the throne in the imperial capital in a month's time. At the same time, the Mystical Sword sect and the Crimson Cloud Valley were named the 2 holy lands of martial arts in the Burning Sun Empire. In addition, Lu Ming was conferred the title of Champion King and the Defender General of the state. The Lu family was given the title of a first-class family, on par with noble families. The news spread and attracted worldwide attention. Countless forces, big and small, were preparing to rush to the imperial capital to celebrate the new emperor's ascension to the throne. This was because everyone knew very well that Lu Ming was behind Hua Qi. A king tier who wasn't even 20 years old was the main point. As long as Lu Ming was not dead, Hua Qi's authority would be impregnable. The entire Blazing Sun Empire was anticipating the arrival of the next month. Even the other 35 empires were paying attention to this matter. However, Lu Ming did not care about any of that. He brought Lu Yuntian and Li Ping back to Fiery Wind City and the Lu family. Red lights were hung all over the Lu family's residence, and it was a jubilant scene. Countless people were going in and out, and it was extremely lively. The Lu family was now a first-class family, such as a noble family. In the past few days, anyone with some power in the hundreds of cities had come to congratulate them. The young master is back, and so are the master and madam. His loud roar caused the entire Lu family to boil. Master, madam, the young master is back. The news instantly spread throughout the Lu family. When Lu Ming and the rest arrived at the Lu family's main gate, they were dumbfounded to discover that countless people had swarmed out. At the very front were the few remaining core elders of the Lu family, and the branch masters of a few branches. Behind them, there were at least a few hundred people whom Lu Ming did not know. Greetings, family head, madam, young master. I haven't seen you for many years. I can die without any regrets. A core elder bowed in greeting. He looked at Lu Yuntian and nearly shed tears. Everyone, please rise. Lu Yuntian's eyes were filled with complicated emotions. After so many years, he had finally returned to the Lu family. I am the city lord of Flowing Light City. Greetings to the champion king, the Lu family's head, and Madame Lu. A burly man with a stout face squeezed out of the crowd and knelt down before Lu Ming. I'm the head of the Lu family in Wutong City. Greetings, champion king. Patriarch Lu, do you still recognize me? I'm Lucio, the city lord of Fragrance City. Oh. Behind him, a group of people came over to greet him. All right, everyone, let us in first. Lu Ming waved his hand and shouted. His words seemed to contain endless majesty. Everyone quieted down and made way for Lu Ming and the rest to enter. Chapter 490. 490 Chapter 490 Returning to Earth Cave. After Lu Ming and the others entered, the core elders and branch masters of the Lu family followed closely behind. Oh! All the branch masters were secretly glad that Lu Yunxiong had not killed Lu Ming back then. Otherwise, the Lu clan would not be where it was today. The stronger the Lu clan was, the more they would benefit. Now, as branch masters, their authority was even greater than that of the castellans of major cities. The castellans of major cities had to listen to them, which made them extremely happy. Naturally, they were even more respectful to Lu Ming, Lu Yuntian, and the others. The group of them arrived at the Lu family's courtyard. Dozens of tables were already filled with banquets, and the group invited Lu Ming, Lu Yuntian, and Li Ping to the topmost table. Everyone, thank you for coming. I haven't been back for many years. Now I'd like to propose a toast to everyone. Lu Yuntian raised his wine cup and said loudly. Back then, Lu Yuntian was rather famous in many large cities. There were many old friends of his present. Brother Yuntian, it's been so many years. I didn't expect that we would meet again. Suddenly a voice was heard. Looking in the direction of the voice, Lu Yuntian's eyes lit up. He smiled and said, Brother Zhou, haha. How have you been? Lu Ming also looked over, a smile on his face. The person who had just spoken was Zhou Linshan. Lu Ming could still clearly remember that he had met Zhou Linshan on his first mission, after joining the mystical sword sect. It was also from Zhou Linshan that he learned that Lu Yuntian was still alive. Uncle Zhou, please take a seat. Lu Ming also stood up and cupped his fists. Champion King, you don't have to be so polite. I wouldn't dare to accept such a title. Zhou Linshan waved his hand. In his heart, however, he was extremely complicated inside. When he had first met Lu Ming was only a young fellow at the Master Realm. In just a few years, Lu Ming had actually become a king tier whose name shook the world. That was a king tier. Just thinking about this word made his heart tremble. Brother Zhou, you're welcome. Come on. Lu Yuntian waved his hand. Back then, the fact that Lu Yuntian had entrusted the heavenly star sword and 2 other important items to Zhou Linshan was proof of their relationship. At this moment, Lu Yuntian was extremely happy to see an old friend. At this moment, Zhou Linshan no longer declined and walked toward Lu Ming and the rest seats. Haha, Brother Zhou, it's been years since we last met. You and I have both grown old. Come, let's drink 3 big bowls first. Lu Yuntian laughed heartily. He no longer used a cup but a large bowl, filling 2 bowls with wine. Haha, good. Infected by Lu Yuntian's heroic spirit, Zhou Linshan let loose as well. He laughed heartily and drank 3 bowls of wine with Lu Yuntian. The city lords and family heads looked at Zhou Linshan with envy. Zhou Linshan had such a good relationship with the Lu family? What an honor it was to be able to sit at the same table as Lu Ming and Lu Yuntian. Many people even thought that they should build a good relationship with Zhou Linshan in the future. Following that, Lu Ming also toasted Zhou Linshan. After 3 rounds of drinking, Lu Ming, Lu Yuntian and Li Ping left. The others continued to drink. In the next few days, there were people who came to the Lu family to congratulate him. Lu Ming did not meet any of them and focused on cultivation. As for Lu Yuntian, he would meet some of his acquaintances. As time passed slowly, Lu Ming's understanding of the intent realm became deeper and deeper. However, the wind and fire intents were still far from being able to condense intent runes. On the other hand, his thunder mentality was improving rapidly every day because of the thunder cauldron. On the other hand, the dragon god's 3 absolutes had also completely stabilized at the 3rd level. However, if he wanted to cultivate to the 4th level, he had to condense intent runes from all 3 types of intents. Very quickly, more than 10 days had passed. At this moment, the people of the Lu clan were already preparing to set off for the imperial city. The Lu family was an important guest this time. On the other hand, Lu Ming had brought Li Ping and Lu Yuntian to the imperial capital earlier than them. On his 2nd day in the imperial capital, Lu Ming went to the General Star Hall and walked towards the Earth Cave. During this period of time, the General Star Hall had already started operating again. The students who had not died in the past had all returned to the General Star Hall. The only thing that Lu Ming was curious about in the Blazing Sun Empire was the Earth Aeon Cave. There were 13 levels in the Earth Cave, and it was said that it was opened by the king of the imperial family. It was said that only the king could enter the 12th and 13th levels. Moreover, there was another saying that the 13th level of the royal family wasn't the limit. Because with that king's strength, he could only open the 13th level. After that, even the king couldn't do it. Very soon, Lu Ming arrived at the entrance of the Earth Cave. Lu. No, the champion. The few burly men at the gate were shocked to see Lu Ming. They stammered for a long time but could not complete a sentence. Lu Ming smiled and walked in. At this time, the few burly men guarding the door finally reacted. Who is that, Nest? He actually walked in just like that. He seems pretty arrogant. Around them there were other young men. A young man with an arrogant face said with some dissatisfaction. You must be fucking blind. That's Lu Ming, the champion king. You don't know him? You're a new student who just joined not long ago? On the side, someone looked at him in disdain. What? That was Lu Ming. No, that was the champion. My idol, why didn't you say so earlier? Oh my god, I miss my idol just like that. No, I'm going to wait for him here. The arrogance on the young man's face disappeared and was replaced by admiration. The news of Lu Ming's arrival in the Earth Cave spread throughout the General Star Hall in an instant. Countless people surrounded the Earth Cave. Some young men who were in closed-door cultivation hurriedly ended their cultivation and rushed to the Earth Cave after receiving the news. Most of them were girls. Lu Ming, who had reached the martial king realm before the age of 20, was unprecedented in the history of the 36 countries of Emperor Yun, let alone the Blazing Sun Empire. Young girls all admired heroes and were fond of geniuses. Lu Ming was such a peerless genius. Naturally, countless young girls would admire and like him. Countless people were waiting outside the Earth Cave. Naturally, Lu Ming did not know that he had caused such a huge sensation. He went all the way down without stopping. Very soon, Lu Ming arrived at the 9th level. At this point, the fire spiritual qi was extremely rich and violent. Ordinary people couldn't cultivate here at all, as their meridians would be burned by the violent fire spiritual qi. However, to Lu Ming, this bit of fiery spiritual energy was like a Buddha's face in the spring breeze. He did not feel anything. He continued down. When he arrived at the 10th floor, he felt that the fire spiritual qi there was several times denser and more violent than the 9th floor. Lu Ming did not stop and continued to go down. Level 11, Level 12. When Lu Ming reached the 12th floor, his expression changed slightly. The fire spiritual qi here had already reached an exaggerated level. The endless fire spiritual qi was extremely violent and ravaged wantonly. The surrounding walls had completely turned into crystals and were extremely hard. Lu Ming felt that even a half-step king would be killed by the fire spiritual qi if he cultivated here. Only a king could come here. Chapter 491. 491 Gifting a Secret Manual. Lu Ming was secretly amazed. This place was really strange. The deeper he went, the richer and more violent the fire spiritual energy would be. Oh, what was down there? How could such a strange area be formed? Lu Ming was very curious. He continued down and came to the 13th level. Boom! The surging fire spiritual energy hit him in the face. Lu Ming felt as if he had walked into a volcano, and the scorching aura filled his body. This fire spiritual qi is too abnormal. Lu Ming activated the concept of fire to block the fire spiritual qi outside. He then looked around. The 13th floor was very small, only the size of an ordinary secret room. The surrounding walls had already turned into fiery red-colored glass. The stone room was empty. Lu Ming could feel that the violent fire spiritual energy was coming from under his feet. It seems that the martial king of the royal family could only dig up to here. He didn't have the strength to go any further. It's true. The fire spiritual qi here is unbearable for ordinary king-level cultivators. Lu Ming pondered. However, although he was only at the early stage of the Level 1 martial king realm, he was no ordinary king. He was so powerful that he could kill a Level 3 martial king. With 3 intent realms protecting him and his true essence exploding, the fire spiritual qi here couldn't do anything to him. Then I'll continue digging and see what's down there. Lu Ming's eyes flickered and a 5th level spiritual weapon, a broadsword, appeared in his hand. Buzz! Lu Ming slashed the broadsword at the ground. There were 3 types of intent realms on the saber. Clang clang clang. When the broadsword hit the ground, it was as if it had hit an iron block. Sparks flew everywhere, but the ground was still cut into pieces of glazed stones. Lu Ming took out a storage ring and kept the stone away. Then he continued to chop. Very soon, Lu Ming had created a big hole that continued downward. After about 10 meters, Lu Ming began to expand in all directions. 2 hours later, a stone chamber appeared. The 14th floor. Here, the fire spiritual qi had reached a terrifying level, but he still couldn't see what was emitting it. Lu Ming frowned. This was because he had already reached his limit. If he continued to go down, he was afraid that he would not be able to withstand it with his strength. This was too terrifying. This is amazing. No matter what's down there. I'm afraid it's very amazing. Forget it, I'm not strong enough now. When I have the strength in the future, I'll definitely dig all the way down and see what's down there. Lu Ming decided in his heart. There's still a dozen days before Hua Qi's ascension. I can cultivate here. The fire spiritual qi here was extremely rich, and it contained a powerful fire concept. It was a good place to cultivate and comprehend the fire concept, which was definitely many times stronger than the outside world. Lu Ming immediately sat down cross-legged, and the 9-dragon bloodline emerged. He opened his mouth, and billowing fire spiritual qi gathered in the dragon's mouth. The violent fire spiritual qi was refined by the 9 dragons, bloodline, and directly transformed into vital essence. At the same time, Lu Ming extended his consciousness and began to comprehend the concept of fire. As expected, it was much faster to comprehend the fire concept here than outside. Lu Ming's understanding of the concept of fire slowly deepened. In the blink of an eye, more than 10 days had passed. There were only 2 days left before Hua Qi's ascension. Lu Ming finally ended his cultivation and walked out of the Earth Aeon cave. Look, Lu Ming is out. As soon as Lu Ming walked out of the Earth cave, he heard a shrill scream. Then, he saw a large group of girls looking at him with shining eyes. Is that the champion Wang Lu Ming? He's so handsome. It's over. I'm already tempted. What should I do? I want to marry him. There were at least a few hundred girls staring at him with bright eyes. No way. I've been cultivating for more than 10 days. Why is there still someone waiting here? Lu Ming was speechless. He moved and left the place, leaving behind a group of sighing girls. The imperial capital was getting more and more lively. All the tens of thousands of cities in the Blazing Sun Empire had sent envoys to congratulate them. Not only that, but even the other empires had sent envoys. The imperial capital was filled with a jubilant atmosphere. In the imperial garden of the imperial palace, 3 figures sat facing each other in a pavilion. Come, Big Rock, the 3 of us haven't had a drink together in a long time. Come, accompany me in 3 big bowls. Hua Qi lifted a large bowl of wine and said to a tall youth. The 3 of them were Lu Ming, Hua Qi, and Pang Shi. A few days ago, Pang Shi had followed the mystical sword sex group to the imperial capital. As soon as Lu Ming came out of seclusion, Hua Qi dragged Lu Ming and Pang Shi out for a drink. A smile appeared on Lu Ming's face. He and Pang Shi had not seen each other for a long time. The scene of the 3 of them often drinking in the dormitory was still vivid in his mind. All right, I'll drink with you. Pang Shi picked up the big bowl and finished it in one gulp. He then scratched his head and laughed foolishly. Out of the 3 of us, one of us is about to become the emperor, and the other is a world-famous king. I'm the weakest of us all. I'm only a 9th grade Master Realm cultivator. Big Rock, don't be discouraged. You're a steady person with a strong foundation. Your future achievements are limitless. In the future, I might have to give up my position as the Defender General of the state to you. Lu Ming patted Pang Shi's shoulder. Haha, senior brother Lu Ming, I'm not discouraged. I'm just happy for the 2 of you. When I return to the village in the future, I'll say that I know the 2 of you. I wonder how many people will be envious? Pang Shi smiled honestly. And that's right. Lu Ming waved his hand and some books and jade bottles appeared on the table. Lu Ming picked up the 3 books and passed them to Pang Shi. Big Rock, there are 3 cultivation technique manuals here. All of them are low-rank earth grade. They are very suitable for you to cultivate. Take them. What? An earth grade secret art? Senior brother Lu Ming, this is too precious. I can't take it. Pang Shi waved his hands. Big Rock, just take it. To be honest, I have no use for these cultivation techniques and secret manuals. It's a waste. You should take them and cultivate. Lu Ming said with a smile. Upon hearing Lu Ming's words, Pang Shi accepted the gift. He was extremely grateful to Lu Ming. In the Blazing Sun Empire, a low earth grade cultivation method or martial skill was definitely one of the best. Hua Qi, these books are for you. Lu Ming passed the other books to Hua Qi. Many thanks. Hua Qi did not stand on ceremony and accepted it. He knew that given Lu Ming's cultivation level, he would not be able to use these cultivation methods and martial arts techniques. Also, these pills can help you break through the shackles and improve your cultivation. Lu Ming pointed at the pills and said to the 2 of them. He then split the pills into 2 portions and handed them over to Hua Qi and Pang Shi. Many of these pills were obtained from the Martial King's storage ring, and they were definitely of high quality. After the 2 of them put it away, they were extremely excited. Chapter 492. 492 Chapter 492 The Kings come to congratulate. With the secret manual and pills that Lu Ming gave them, their cultivation would definitely improve by leaps and bounds. Oh, after that, the 2 of them drank and chatted. They only dispersed after drinking for a few hours. 2 days later, in front of the palace, There was a very wide square filled with tables. There were countless armored soldiers guarding the square, making it so that not even a drop of water could pass through. There was an altar in the square. Hua Qi was wearing a dragon robe. Surrounded by the civil and military officials and the city lords, he was going to worship the heavens and the ancestors, and officially become the emperor of the Burning Sun Empire. After the meeting ended, it was time for a banquet to be held, inviting the entire world. The champion king, the defender general of the state has arrived. Lu family head. Madame Lu has arrived. A loud shout reverberated throughout the entire area. Lu Ming, Lu Yuntian and Li Ping walked in from outside. Your humble servant greets your majesty. This commoner pays his respects to your majesty. Lu Ming, Lu Yuntian and Hua Qi cupped their fists and saluted. Champion King, Uncle Lu, Aunt Lu, please dispense with the formalities. Come men, please take a seat. Hua Qi hurriedly welcomed them and helped Lu Ming and the other two up. Then he sat down next to the three of them. It was the closest seat to him. The sect leader of the mystical sword sect has arrived. The valley master of the Scarlet Cloud Valley has arrived. Soon after, Lin Shui and Ling Patian led a few gold-robed elders and a few young elites into the arena. Everyone first paid their respects to Hua Qi, then presented their congratulatory gifts. Following that, some of the smaller forces of the Blazing Sun Empire also sent people to greet the new emperor and present their gifts. The Bloodjiao Empire's Great Sun Prefecture Master has arrived. All of a sudden, a loud shout silenced the entire place. The Master of Great Sun Prefecture, Lin Shui, Ling Patian and the others were shocked. On the other hand, Lu Ming's expression was cold. It was said that the Great Sun Mansion Master was one of the two kings in the Bloodjiao Empire, and had lived for hundreds of years. Outside the square, an old man in a sun robe walked in with dozens of other old men and burly men. Jin Yang, the Master of Great Sun Prefecture, pays his respects to the new Blazing Sun Emperor. And NBSP, the Great Sun Prefecture Master led the group and bowed to Hua Qi, then turned to Lu Ming. Great Sun Mansion, I haven't even gone to find you, and you've already come to me. Lu Ming stood up slowly, the aura on his body rising rapidly. Champion King, it's all a misunderstanding. It's all a misunderstanding. And NBSP, the Great Sun Prefecture Master's face changed and he shouted. Oh, a misunderstanding? Your Great Sun Mansion's 100,000-strong Sun Army is attacking the Blazing Sun Empire. Is this also a misunderstanding? Lu Ming sneered. Champion King, it's a misunderstanding. I was in seclusion at that time and had no idea what had happened. It was all because my subordinates were bewitched. As soon as I came out of seclusion and learned of this, I killed the Sun Legion's commander-in-chief. Today, I'm here to apologize to the Champion King and all of you. And NBSP, the Great Sun Mansion Master quickly explained. He was really honest and didn't have the dignity that a king should have. Everyone knew in their hearts that this was all because of Lu Ming. If not for Lu Ming, the Great Sun Prefecture Master would not have come to congratulate Hua Qi. Even if he had come, he would have come here to avenge the 100,000 Sun Legion. However, because of Lu Ming, the other party did not dare to say anything about the death of the 100,000 Sun Legion. Instead, he came to apologize pitifully. And NBSP, after saying that, the Great Sun Prefecture Master waved his hand and many boxes appeared on the ground. In the boxes were all kinds of spirit weapons, pills and blacksmithing materials. And they were all of high grade, many of them were level 4. Champion King, this is a small gift from me. Please accept it. The Great Sun Prefecture Master laughed. He was indeed very afraid. Previously, Lu Ming had killed many kings in one battle, which made his heart shiver. He was afraid that if Lu Ming were to go to Great Sun Mansion in anger, he would be finished. He was only a first-tier martial king and probably could not withstand a single blow from Lu Ming. The Manor Master of Great Sun Manor smiled apologetically and looked at Lu Ming with eager eyes. This made the other people on the field feel a myriad of emotions. In the past, the Great Sun Prefecture Master was a legendary figure who was high up in the air and looked down on everyone. They wanted to see him, but they couldn't even see him. Now, such a person was like a junior in front of Lu Ming. He was smiling cautiously. This made them feel strange. Some of the young people were so excited that they were trembling. They clenched their fists and shouted in their hearts, "This is what a true martial artist should be like. In the future I'll be like this too, so that I won't live in vain." Lu Ming did not answer immediately. He closed his eyes and seemed to be in deep thought. The Great Sun Prefecture Master just looked on, not daring to make a sound. After a moment, Lu Ming opened his eyes and said, "Today is a day of great joy for the Burning Sun Empire. I won't hold it against you. But remember, if you dare to offend the Burning Sun Empire again, I will personally raze the Great Sun Mansion to the ground." Lu Ming's eyes flashed with killing intent when he said the last sentence. And NBSP, the master of Great Sun Mansion and the other higher-ups of Great Sun Mansion broke out in cold sweat and their hearts turned cold. "Thank you, Champion King." And NBSP, the people from Great Sun Mansion cupped their fists and thanked him. "You're a guest, sit down." Lu Ming waved his hand. And NBSP, the people from Great Sun Mansion felt like they had been granted amnesty and let out a long sigh of relief. They sat down. The Night Moon King of the Nine Knights Empire has arrived. At this time a loud shout was heard. The entire place fell silent again. The Night Moon King of the Nine Knights Empire was also a martial king realm expert, whose name shook the 36 countries of Emperor Yun. He was the #1 expert in the Nine Knights Empire. He didn't expect that even such a person would come. Hua Qi, Lin Shui, and the others were ecstatic as they quickly stood up to welcome him. A tall and thin middle-aged man walked in with a group of people. Haha, Yu congratulates the new Blazing Sun Emperor on his ascension to the throne. Greetings, Champion King. The Night Moon King bowed slightly to Hua Qi, then solemnly to Lu Ming. Everyone knew that the Night Moon King had come for Lu Ming. "Please sit, Night Moon King." Lu Ming waved his hands and said, "The sect master of the No Return sect has arrived. The Grand Supreme Leader of the Carefree sect has arrived. King Jinkei has arrived." Oh! Following that, loud shouts could be heard. Everyone present was shocked beyond words. This was because the people who had come were all the overlords of the 36 countries of Emperor Yun. They were all martial king realm experts. Every single one of them was an unrivaled figure in the 36 countries of Emperor Yun. They were all legendary mighty people. Usually they were elusive, but now they had actually come here together. Finally, in the Cloud Emperor mountain range, the kings of the 8 medium empires had almost all arrived. There were a total of 15 of them. One had to know that there were less than 20 kings in all the 36 countries of Emperor Yun. It could be said that most of the king tiers had arrived. Everyone from the Burning Sun Empire was excited. This was an honor, and this honor was brought by Lu Ming. Everyone knew that these experts were here for Lu Ming. A king tier who wasn't even 20 years old was too shocking. His future was limitless, so they naturally had to curry favor with him as soon as possible and befriend him. When Lu Ming became stronger in the future, they would not be qualified to befriend him even if they wanted to. Chapter 493. 493 Kill the King of Assassins. Champion King, I think the scar on your father's face should have been left over the past 10 years. I have some crystal morning cream here. Although it can't cure your father's meridian injury, it should be enough to treat this scar. Oh, the one who spoke was a white-haired old man. He was the Grand Emperor of the Cloud Desolate Empire, and was at the middle stage of the martial king realm. He was known as one of the 3 strongest people in the 36 countries of Emperor Yun. He took out a jade bottle and passed it to Lu Ming. "Many thanks, Senior." Lu Ming was ecstatic and took it without any hesitation. Although he could not heal Lu Yuntian's meridians, Lu Ming was overjoyed that he could heal the scar on his face. "Many thanks, Senior." Lu Yuntian and Li Ping also bowed to the Cloud Desolate Empire's Grand Imperial Sire. "Haha, no need to be so polite. This is just a small token of my appreciation." The Cloud Desolate Empire's Grand Emperor laughed. Then, everyone took their seats. At this moment, almost everyone who should be here had arrived. Suddenly, Lu Ming raised his head and a cold glint flashed in his eyes. He said in a cold voice, "Your Excellency, you've been watching there for so long, shouldn't you show yourself?" "What?" Lu Ming's words shocked the others, and they all looked up at the sky. However, the sky was very clear. There wasn't a single cloud in sight, so where was the person? Without clouds, how could one hide? Could Lu Ming have sensed wrongly? At this moment, he as expected of the champion king. To become a king at such a young age, you're indeed extraordinary. You can actually sense me. A sneer came from the sky. At the same time, a figure suddenly appeared. It was as if he had appeared out of thin air. It was an old man in a black robe with white hair and a cold face. "It's you, the netherworld old ghost of the Hades palace." The moment the Cloud Desolate Empire's Grand Emperor saw this old man, he shouted. On the battlefield, the King Tyr also turned pale with fright. Could this elder be the strongest assassin of the Hades palace, one of the 3 strongest experts in the 36 countries of the Cloud Wilderness, Netherworld, who was as famous as the Cloud Wilderness Empire's retired emperor? This was a name that would make people's faces change. The Hades Palace was the #1 assassin organization in the 36 countries of Emperor Yun. It had branches in every empire. The Blazing Sun Empire also had a branch of the Hades Palace, which was also known as one of the 4 major assassin organizations of the Blazing Sun Empire. It could be said that the Underworld Royal Palace was the enemy of all the people in the 36 kingdoms of Emperor Yun. Almost every powerful force had someone assassinated by the Underworld Royal Palace. At this moment, Netherworld's appearance made many people's faces change. "You've been hiding in the sky and acting sneaky. Do you think I don't know? If you're here to congratulate me, I'll welcome you. If not, then get lost." Lu Ming's eyes were like lightning as he stared at the Netherworld. Champion King, you're indeed young and impetuous. What a big tone." Yu Ming sneered and continued, "Lu Ming, you're the one who shouldn't have appeared. Once you appear, the balance of the 36 kingdoms of Emperor Yun will be broken sooner or later. Therefore, it's best that you disappear from this world." "You want to kill me?" Lu Ming smiled faintly. It said that some time ago you killed an early Level 3 Martial King Realm warrior. I can only say that rumors are really powerful, and those who spread these rumors are brainless people who don't understand the secrets of the Martial King Realm at all. In the Martial King Realm, it's impossible for a warrior who has just broken through to the Martial King Realm to cross 2 levels and kill a Level 3 Martial King Realm warrior. So many people. How stupid. They actually believed such words? Netherworld sneered, and his eyes revealed killing intent. Lu Ming's rise made the Hades Palace feel threatened. Now the Underworld Royal Mansion could get whatever they wanted in the 36 countries of Emperor Yun. Many forces were in awe of them. He was already used to such a life. However, Lu Ming, a young king, had appeared. His future achievements would definitely surpass his. When that time came, the Hades Palace would not have a good life. Therefore, he decided to kill Lu Ming completely before he grew up. "Then you can try," Lu Ming said. I'll try. As soon as he finished speaking, a sword light suddenly shot out from Netherworld's hand. The sword gleam was extremely sharp and unbelievably fast. It was soundless as it stabbed towards Lu Ming's throat. Fast, it was too fast. He had crossed thousands of meters in the void. He was fast, but Lu Ming was faster. Whoosh! The long spear had appeared in Lu Ming's hands at some point in time. He thrust the spear and it hit the sword light. Clang! With a crisp sound, the sword light was sent flying. Buzz! The sword light flew back to Netherworld's hand. "You have some skills," Netherworld said faintly. "Now it's my turn." As soon as he finished speaking, Lu Ming soared into the sky and flew high into the sky. Boom! Lu Ming could not be bothered to talk nonsense. He took a step forward. The 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps had unleashed all 3 intents at the same time. An incomparably terrifying energy burst forth, blasting towards Netherworld. Break! The sound of a sword rang out as a sword light shot out from Netherworld's hand. It was even more powerful than before. However, the sword gleam crumbled under Lu Ming's feet. Under the powerful force, Netherworld was forced to retreat 5 to 6 steps. Boom! Immediately after, Lu Ming took his second step. A power that was several times stronger than before suddenly erupted. So strong. Netherworld's expression changed for the first time, and it became extremely solemn. His body flashed with a Silavirer light as he burst out with the power of his bloodline. At the same time he stabbed out with his sword. Ghosts wailed and Wallevers howled in the world. A black sword light stabbed forward. In the process of the sword light, countless ghostly shadows flashed. Boom! A deafening boom erupted between heaven and earth, and the entire imperial capital began to shake. In the next moment, Netherworld spat out a large mouthful of blood. His figure retreated rapidly, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. He was too powerful. Lu Ming was too powerful. He was even more powerful than the rumors had said. He now believed that Lu Ming had really killed an early-stage third-level Martial King realm expert. But it was too late to believe it now. That was because Lu Ming had already taken his third step. 9 dragons heaven-treading steps, 3 steps in a row. The power continued to stack. The power of this step was like a vast ocean, boundless and endless, submerging the Netherworld. No, no. Netherworld howled madly. He exerted all his strength in an attempt to break out of the range of the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps. However, it was all in vain. As the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps landed, Netherworld's body cracked at a speed that was visible to the naked eye. Then he exploded in the air. Lu Ming controlled the 9 dragon bloodline to devour Netherworld's blood essence. At the same time he took off his storage ring. Then with a wave of his hand, a flame appeared and burned Netherworld's corpse to ashes. Below, countless people were dumbfounded. Especially the kings. They couldn't stop gasping. They felt cold all over, and their backs were wet with cold sweat. Lu Ming's strength had exceeded everyone's expectations. The Netherworld, whose name had shaken the Emperor Yun's 36 nations for hundreds of years, had caused countless people to turn pale at the mention of it. How could it be killed by Lu Ming so easily? If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he would have found it hard to believe. Chapter 494. 494 Killing their way to the Netherworld Prefecture. In fact, most of the kings present had the same thought as Yu Ming. They did not believe that Lu Ming could kill a third-level Martial King, not long after he had broken through to the Martial King realm. Oh, after all, a Level 3 Martial King was much stronger than a Level 1 Martial King. The main reason they came to befriend Lu Ming was because of his potential. They valued his future and not his current combat strength. Now they finally understood that Lu Ming's combat strength had reached a terrifying level. To be able to kill Yu Ming in a few moves, he could be said to be the strongest person in the 36 countries of Emperor Yun. Especially the master of Great Sun Prefecture. His body was trembling slightly. Lu Ming's combat strength was beyond his imagination. If he wanted to kill him, he did not need one move. Half a move would be enough. Amazing, truly amazing. Heroes really come from the youth. It seems that this old man has really become old. The Cloud Desolate Empire's Grand Emperor reacted and sighed. That's right. The Champion King is truly a rare heaven's favorite. In the future, he'll definitely become a famous expert on the continent, and his name will shake the world. Immediately, the dozen or so martial kings all smiled and flattered Lu Ming. The other people at the scene were stunned. They found that the kings who were usually high and mighty were now like ordinary people. They would flatter and fawn over stronger people. Everyone, some problems have been so levered. Please take a seat and continue drinking. Lu Ming waved his hand. After cultivating in the Earth Cave for more than 10 days, Lu Ming's cultivation had broken through to the middle of the first-tier Martial King realm. His combat strength had also improved. Lu Ming did not find it strange that he could use the third step of the 9 dragons' heaven-treading steps to kill Netherworld. The banquet continued immediately. However, everyone's mood at this banquet was different. The people of the Burning Sun Empire were naturally excited. With an expert like Lu Ming in charge, the Blazing Sun Empire would definitely flourish. As for the people from the other empires, all sorts of thoughts flashed through their minds. The banquet went on for 5 hours before it was announced to be over. The crowd slowly dispersed. Lu Ming, Lu Yuntian, and Li Ping stayed in the imperial capital for 2 days before they returned to the Lu family. On this day, Lu Ming had a feeling and flew towards the mystical sword sect. When Lu Ming arrived at the mystical sword sect, the sky above the mystical sword sect was filled with blood. It was the blood cocoon formed by the golden-eyed blood corpse. It seemed like the evolution had been completed. Buzz! The blood cocoon trembled, and the blood qi around it was so thick that it couldn't dissipate. After a long while, the blood qi gathered toward the blood cocoon and disappeared. Gotcha! Then the blood cocoon cracked open and a strong figure walked out. It had golden eyes, a blood-red mist, and its skin had turned pale gold. Its hair and fangs had disappeared, and it looked like a normal person. A terrifying aura spread out from the golden-eyed blood corpse's body. A king. This was the aura of a king. The golden-eyed blood corpse had successfully evo-levered into a true king after absorbing the blood of 5 to 6 kings and the blood of hundreds of thousands of soldiers. Master! When the golden-eyed blood corpse saw Lu Ming, a trace of excitement flashed across its face. It bowed to Lu Ming. Golden Eye, you can speak. Lu Ming was stunned and asked. Yes, I can naturally speak after breaking through to the king tier. The golden-eyed blood zombie bowed. As expected, legend has it that once a demonic beast reaches the demonic beast king level, it can also speak. It seems like the king level is really a huge gap. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He took out a set of clothes and threw it to the golden-eyed blood corpse. Put on your clothes. Yes, master. The golden-eyed blood corpse took the clothes and put them on. Golden Eye, come back to the Lu family with me. You'll be responsible for the safety of my parents in the future. Lu Ming instructed. Yes. The golden-eyed blood zombie bowed and accepted the order. Lu Ming was overjoyed that the golden-eyed blood corpse had become a king. Originally, he was worried about Lu Yuntian and Li Ping's safety, but now that the golden-eyed blood corpse had broken through to the king tier, he was much more at ease with it protecting Lu Yuntian and Li Ping. In a flash, they headed for the Lu family. Not long after, they returned to the Lu family. When Lu Yuntian found out that the golden-eyed blood corpse had evo-levered into a king, he was first shocked, then pleasantly surprised. Time passed quickly, and in the blink of an eye 7 days had passed. After 7 days, the scars on Lu Yuntian's face had completely disappeared. Not a single scar was left behind. He had regained his usual handsomeness and looked 60 to 70% similar to Lu Ming. Lu Ming, Li Ping, and the rest were overjoyed. At this moment, Lu Ming bade farewell to Lu Yuntian and Li Ping. It was time to return to the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace. After Li Ping's reminder, Lu Ming rose into the air and left in an instant. However, he didn't go to the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace immediately. Instead, he came to the imperial capital of the Cloud Desolate Empire. That was because there was still one thing that had not been reso-levered. Although Netherworld had been killed by Lu Ming in the Underworld Royal Palace, there were still some other powerhouses below. If Lu Ming left, these powerhouses might harm Lu Ming's family. He had to get rid of this scourge first. In the 36 countries of Emperor Yun, the person who knew the Underworld Royal Mansion the best was undoubtedly the Emperor of the Cloud Desolate Empire. Lu Ming's arrival shocked the Cloud Wilderness Empire. Naturally, it was easy to meet the Cloud Wilderness Empire's Grand Emperor. The retired Emperor of the Cloud Desolate Empire was called Huang Su. When he heard that Lu Ming was going to deal with the Hades Palace, he was naturally overjoyed. Champion King, my Cloud Desolate Empire has been investigating the Hades Palace for close to 100 years. Even though the Hades Palace headquarters is extremely secretive and we think that no one knows about it, in fact I have long known about it. In the past, I was afraid of Netherworld's strength, so I didn't attack the Underworld King's headquarters. Now that Netherworld is dead, I can get rid of this scourge, this cancer, said Huang Su overjoyed. Senior Huang, we don't need too many people. Just the 2 of us will be enough. Lu Ming said. All right, I'll take you there immediately, said Desolate. After that, Lu Ming and the ruins flew out of the Cloud Desolate Empire's imperial capital and headed north. The northern side of the Cloud Emperor mountain range was extremely desolate. There were mountains everywhere, and powerful demonic beasts roamed. There was no empire here, and not many people survived. Lu Ming and the ruins came to a wide lake. As far as I know, there's another universe under this lake. The headquarters of the Hades Palace is right under this lake," said Desolate. "It's indeed secretive." Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. "Let's go." Then Lu Ming and the ruins rushed into the lake. With true essence covering their bodies, the two of them silently headed to the bottom of the lake. The lake was very deep. The deepest part was actually 1,000 meters deep. There wasn't much mud at the bottom of the lake. Most of it was made of smooth rocks. In the middle of the rocks, there was a 2-meter-wide crack. There were inscriptions in the crack that blocked the lake water, so the lake couldn't flow in. It was obvious that the Hades headquarters was right below. The two of them concealed their auras and silently passed through the inscriptions. After seeing through the inscription, his eyes suddenly opened up. Below them, there were actually some naturally formed underground caves that extended in all directions, extremely wide. "Oh!" In front of him he could hear faint voices. The two of them moved forward. In a small cave, a few assassins in black robes from the Hades Palace were talking. Lu Ming and the ruins flashed past and the few assassins fell down silently. Chapter 495. 495 people from the Shang clan. Then the two of them continued to go deeper in, killing more and more assassins from the underworld. Oh! Lu Ming did not show any mercy. Every assassin from the underworld royal palace had blood on their hands. They were all paid to kill. Countless innocent people had died at their hands. It could be said that every one of them deserved to be killed. In a short while, hundreds of people had died at the hands of the two. Enemy attack! Enemy attack! Finally, someone discovered Lu Ming and the ruins. Their frightened shouts spread in the underground cave. Boom! Boom! Since they had been discovered, there was no need for the two of them to hide their auras. The two of them burst out with their full strength and charged in with a crushing momentum. No one could stop the two. It had to be said that the underworld royal palace was indeed very powerful. There were 6 Martial King realm powerhouses in this underground cave. However, the strongest among them was only at peak level 2 Martial King realm. It was impossible for them to resist Lu Ming and Huang Su, and they were easily killed. And NBSP. A deafening boom exploded in the underground cave, and it began to shake. Boom! 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 In the end, the entire underground cave collapsed. Buzz! Buzz! 2 figures rushed out from the bottom of the lake and stood in the void. Naturally, it was Lu Ming and the ruins. Below, the water in the lake churned. Due to the collapse of the underground cave, a huge whirlpool was formed. The lake water poured down and completely submerged the underground cave. Not a single person escaped from the Hades Palace. Haha, this is great. Champion King, thanks to you, we were able to get rid of the cancer in the Cloud Emperor mountain range. Huang Su laughed out loud, extremely carefree. Senior Huang, you're too polite. I'm just doing it for the sake of convenience. Oh right. I'll have to trouble you with the remaining branches of the underworld royal palace. Lu Ming cupped his fists and said, Aha, no problem. As soon as I get back, I'll immediately call on all the countries to surround and annihilate the people from the underworld king's mansion, said Huang Su with a smile. That's good. Then this junior will take his leave. With that, Lu Ming turned into a ray of light and disappeared into the horizon. He's a genius. I wonder what heights he'll reach in the future? I'm really looking forward to it. Looking in the direction where Lu Ming left, the ruins muttered to himself. Lu Ming made his way to the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace. The distance between the Cloud Emperor mountain range and the Myriad Star City was closer. Lu Ming only spent 3 days to return to the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. Then, he reported the mission and returned to the Eastern Sky Courtyard. In a large hall of the Thunder Palace, the Thunder Palace Master's face was extremely gloomy as he sat on the chair at the top. What's going on? It's been so long, why aren't Chower and Zhongkong back yet? Also, those 5 guys didn't send me any messages. Thunder Palace Master muttered, feeling a little anxious. It had been so long, But Qiu Chongkong and Xue Chao had yet to return. This gave him a bad feeling. Could it be that Lu Ming really did not die? That's impossible. According to what Su Zhong and the rest said, Lu Ming should be dead for sure. Moreover, even if he's not dead, he'll still die when he reaches the Blazing Sun Empire. But why haven't Chongkong and the rest returned yet? What happened? Damn it, I'm being watched closely by Eccentric Wind and the rest. I can't even send people to find out more. Thunder Palace Master roared in his heart. Oh. Back then, when Su Zhong, Huang Jing, and the rest returned to the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace, they reported that they had encountered the people from the Heavenly Corpse sect and that the bald burly man had attacked Lu Ming. This caused a huge commotion. The Wind Palace Master, Fire Palace Master, and the others were especially furious. They had suspected the Thunder Palace Master at the first moment. However, Thunder Palace Master naturally denied it. The other Palace Masters didn't have any evidence and couldn't do anything to Thunder Palace Master. However, they had sent people to keep a close eye on Thunder Palace Master and see what he would do. Therefore, during this period of time, the Master of Thunder Palace was completely unaware of what had happened in the Blazing Sun Empire. He also did not know that the people he had sent had all been killed by Lu Ming. Hall Master, Hall Master! At this moment, a young man ran in hurriedly. What is it? Speak! Thunder Palace Master said with a frown. Hall Master, Lu Ming has returned. The young man shouted. What? Lu Ming did not die? How is that possible? Are you sure you're not mistaken? Thunder Palace Master suddenly stood up from his chair and almost shouted. It's true. I saw him hand in the mission with my own eyes. He has already returned to the Eastern Sky Courtyard. The young man reported. Damn it, why isn't that little bastard dead yet? How is that possible? Thunder Palace Master roared. According to his arrangement, Lu Ming should be dead. Even if he managed to escape from the disciples of the Heavenly Corpse sect, he would still die when he returned to the Blazing Sun Empire. But now Lu Ming had returned alive. Could it be that someone is secretly helping him? It's possible. It's very possible that the Palace Masters and the Palace Masters have sent people to help him in secret. It must be so. The light in Thunder Palace Master's eyes flickered continuously. Lu Ming, this little bastard, I can't let him live. I must find a way to get rid of him. A cold killing intent flashed across Thunder Palace Master's eyes. At this moment, his expression changed and a voice transmission jade talisman appeared in his hand. He scanned it with his mind and was slightly stunned at first, then he was overjoyed. The Sheng family actually sent someone here at this time. Good. Doesn't Lu Ming have a grudge against Sheng Wushuang? We can use this opportunity to sow discord between the Sheng family and kill Lu Ming with the Sheng family's hands. Thunder Palace Master was overjoyed. Go and welcome the Sheng family. Then Thunder Palace Master strode out. In the west of the Myriad Star City, 5 figures were heading toward the city. Of the 5, one was a white-haired old man, while the other 4 were all young. They were all in their 20s, 3 men and 1 woman. The 4 of them had one thing in common, which was that they had cold and arrogant faces, with an expression of superiority. At this moment, 2 figures flew out of the Myriad Star City and greeted the 5 of them. One of them was Sheng Wushuang, and the other was the Thunder Palace Master. Ha, so it's Brother Shengyao. What brings you to the eastern part of the Tianxian region? Thunder Palace Master cupped his fists and laughed. Brother Zheng, how have you been? I did come here for a small matter. The gray-haired old man laughed. Sheng Wushuang pays his respects to the Sacred Glory Elder. Sheng Wushuang walked forward and bowed respectfully. Sheng Yao looked at Sheng Wushuang and his face turned cold. He nodded slightly as a response. Sheng Wushuang, I heard that you've been abused very badly. Moreover, you were abused by a Detian Divine Guard from the same batch as you. Sheng Wushuang, you've really brought shame to our Sheng family. A young man from the Sheng family sneered. That's right. Sheng Wushuang, you're really a piece of trash. You're actually being abused in the eastern part of the Tianxian region. If you were to return to the central part of the Tianxian region, You'd be worse than trash. The other young man sneered. Shang Wushuang's face turned red and he clenched his fists tightly. Chapter 496. 496 Coming for Lu Ming. He was angry, but he didn't dare to say anything. Oh. He was only a branch disciple of the Shang family. However, these young men in front of him were direct descendants of the Shang family. Whether it was status or cultivation, they were many times higher than him. He simply couldn't compare to these people. The Shang clan was the most ancient clan in the entire Tianxian region. It was also one of the two strongest clans in the Tianxian region. One was from the Shang family, and the other was from the Mu family. The Shang clan was located in the middle of the Tianxian region. The center of the Tianxian region was the most fertile, vast, and rich place in the entire Tianxian region. The area of the central part of the Tianxian region was 10 times the size of the eastern part of the Tianxian region. There were many talented people and monstrous talents. That place was the core of the entire Tianxian region. The young men in front of him were from the direct line of descent of the Shang family. They were not people Shang Wushuang could offend. Shang Wushuang, don't worry. Although you're a piece of trash, you're still a member of the Shang family. Even if you're a dog of the Shang family, we'll make you pay 10 times the price if you get bullied. Don't worry, we'll avenge you. A young man said with a smile. Shang Wushuang's face turned even uglier. What did he mean? Was he being compared to a dog? Lu Ming, it's all your fault. It's all your fault. Otherwise, I wouldn't have suffered such great humiliation. I won't let you off. Shang Wushuang roared in his heart. He did not dare to offend the direct descendant of the Shang family. He could only blame everything on Lu Ming. Haha, Brother Shang, and the other heroes, let's go in first and catch up. Thunder Palace Master laughed. All right. Sheng Yao nodded. Immediately, the group of people came to the Thunder Palace. Someone had already prepared the spiritual tea and spiritual fruits. Everyone took their seats. Brother Shang, may I know why you have come this time? This Zheng might be able to help. Thunder Palace Master was the first to speak. I'm not happy with Brother Zheng. This time, I'm mainly here to do something that the young master of Xingqian has entrusted me with. Sheng Yao said. What? The young master of Xingqian? Hearing that, both Thunder Palace Master and Shang Wushuang's expressions changed. Shang Xingqian was the #1 genius among the younger generation of the Shang family. He was a peerless monster. At the age of 21, he had reached the martial king realm and shocked the entire Tianxian region. I wonder what is on the eastern part of the Tianxian region that the young master of Xingqian is concerned about? Thunder Palace Master asked. It's not a big deal. Young Master Xingqian is mainly looking for someone, and then he asked us to bring this person to the central region, Sheng Yao said. Looking for someone? Young Master of Xingqian, who are you looking for? The Thunder Palace Master asked. We don't know either. Therefore, we will need the help of Thunder Palace Master, Sheng Yao said. I'll definitely do my best. Do you have any clues? Thunder Palace Master immediately looked like he was going all out. Brother Zheng, you should know about Palace Master Mu's daughter, Miss Mulan, right? Sheng Yao said. Thunder Palace Master's expression changed again, and he said, Of course I know about Palace Master Mu's daughter, Miss Mulan. I also heard that Miss Mulan had an engagement with the young Master of Constellation since she was young. The Palace Master they were talking about was not the Palace Master of the Eastern Palace in the Tianxian region, but the Palace Master of the entire palace in the Tianxian region. That's right, but that girl Mulan has never wanted to marry young Master Xingqian. She even ran away from home and hid in a remote place like the Cloud Emperor mountain range. However, she actually went back some time ago. Young Master Xingqian has already sent people to investigate. That girl Mulan actually went back because she wanted to ask for an invitation to the Ditian Divine Guard selection on behalf of someone. This is the person that young Master Xingqian is looking for. The person that Mulan asked for an invitation for is from the Burning Sun Empire in the Cloud Emperor mountain range. I heard that he has already joined the Ditian Divine Guards. Holy Light explained. Thunder Palace Master's face revealed a look of ecstasy. Brother Shang, I know this person. His name is Lu Ming. There were 2 Ditian divine guards from the Blazing Sun Empire. Qiu Chongkong was definitely not one of them. Lu Ming was the only one left. Lu Ming. Hearing that, Sheng Wushuang's face changed. What's wrong? Is this Lu Ming very famous? A young man from the Sheng family asked. Everyone, this Lu Ming is the East Heaven Divine Guard from the east of the Tianqian region. He's also the one who injured Sheng Wushuang, the Thunder Palace Master explained. He was overjoyed. He had been thinking of how to use the Sheng family to get rid of Lu Ming. Now he realized that he did not have to do anything and the Sheng family would not let Lu Ming off. Lu Ming, let's see how you're going to die this time. Thunder Palace Master thought coldly in his heart. So it's the same person. Haha, that's good too. Saves us trouble. I'll teach him a lesson and cripple Lu Ming's cultivation. Then, I'll bring him back to the central region and hand him over to the young master of Star Palace to deal with. One of the young men with sword-shaped eyebrows laughed. Everyone, don't underestimate Lu Ming. His combat strength is terrifying. Not long ago, he defeated a genius who had just broken through to the Martial King realm, when he was only half a step away from the Martial King realm. Thunder Palace Master said. Of course, he didn't mention that the Martial King who was defeated was his disciple, because it was really embarrassing. What? A half-step king warrior actually defeated a Martial King? The faces of Sheng Yao and the 4 geniuses of the Sheng family changed drastically. How is that possible? How can a half-step king defeat a true king? The sword-browed young man couldn't believe it. It's true. Sheng Wushuang was there and he saw it. Thunder Palace Master said. That's right. It's true. Lu Ming's combat strength is terrifying. Sheng Wushuang said coldly. A half-step king can actually defeat a king. Although he has just broken through, it's still unbelievable. In that case, we can't let this kid live. Saint Kong, Saint Might, you 2 go together and cripple Lu Ming's cultivation first. Then, take him down and bring him back to the central region. Holy Light ordered. Don't worry, Elder. No matter how strong Lu Ming is, he's only a half-step king. I've already reached the early stage of the 2nd-level Martial King realm, and my holy aura has reached the peak of the 2nd-level Martial King realm. It'll be a piece of cake to take him down. The young man with sword-like eyebrows, Shang Kong, said confidently. Moreover, they were all geniuses, and their battle prowess was unparalleled among those of the same level. They could even fight those of a higher level. Lu Ming should be in the Eastern Sky Courtyard. I'll take you there. Sheng Wushuang said immediately. At the thought of Lu Ming being beaten up like a dead dog, his heart trembled with excitement. Lu Ming, how dare you hurt me and take away 30,000 pieces of top-grade spiritual crystals from me? I'll make you pay 10 times the amount. Sheng Wushuang roared in his heart. He immediately brought the Saint Air and Saint Might to the Eastern Heaven Courtyard. Oh! As soon as Lu Ming returned to the Eastern Sky Courtyard, he sat cross-legged and thought about the direction of his cultivation. Now, my thunder mentality is progressing very fast. It's almost at the middle stage of level 1 lower tier. However, the progress of my wind and fire mentality is too slow. I must improve faster. Lu Ming was deep in thought. Chapter 497. 497 Attacking the Eastern Sky Courtyard. It's still too slow to quickly level up 2 intent realms even at the Tao Enlightenment Palace. Only intent crystals can quickly level up these 2 intent realms. However, it's not realistic to buy a large number of intent crystals. I'll go take a look at the mystical treasure house later. Oh! Intent crystals, consumables that were extremely effective in comprehending intent, were too hard to buy. This was because everyone needed it, and there would be no surplus. If they bought it, it would be consumed. It might be possible to buy a small amount, but it would be difficult to buy a large amount. The spiritual crystals I have now should be enough for me to break through to the 2nd level of the Martial King realm. During this period of time, Lu Ming had obtained the Bald Man's storage ring and the storage rings of the 6 kings, including Xue Chao, from the battle at the mystical sword sect. He had obtained many top-grade spirit crystals. Now Lu Ming had 150,000 high-quality spiritual crystals. In the martial king realm, the most important thing was to comprehend the will of heaven and earth. Only by breaking through the will of heaven and earth could one's cultivation break through. Once the essence realm of heaven and earth broke through, it would be much easier to improve one's cultivation. As long as there were enough resources and enough energy, one could make a breakthrough in cultivation. Supreme spiritual crystals were undoubtedly the most suitable. Moreover, Lu Ming had an advantage. He had the 9 dragons bloodline. The speed at which he refined supreme-grade spirit crystals was tens or even hundreds of times faster than others. Now, I'll improve my cultivation first. Lu Ming's thunder will had long reached the initial level 1 will. In other words, as long as Lu Ming had enough resources, he could break through to the 4th level martial king realm without any bottlenecks. Lu Ming waved his hand and 10,000 pieces of top-grade spiritual crystals appeared. Explode! Lu Ming's essential core spread out and 10,000 top-grade spirit crystals exploded. The spiritual energy in the courtyard was extremely rich. Devour! The bloodline of the 9 dragons emerged. It opened its mouth and inhaled. The majestic spiritual chi of heaven and earth was swallowed by the bloodline of the 9 dragons like water. The bloodline of the 9 dragons began to be refined rapidly. Even the best spiritual crystals had impurities and it would take time to refine them. At most it would take dozens or even 100 pieces. However, Lu Ming refined tens of thousands of top-grade spirit crystals at the same time at a terrifying speed. If others saw this, they would be scared to death. The 9 dragons' bloodline seemed to be breathing. With every breath, an extremely pure energy surged into Lu Ming's body and was absorbed by him, turning into quintessential essence. Lu Ming's cultivation level increased rapidly, and he was approaching the late stage of the level 1 martial king realm. Very soon 10,000 pieces of top-grade spirit crystals were refined. Lu Ming took out another 10,000 pieces of top-grade spirit crystals and began refining. When Lu Ming had refined 30,000 pieces of top-grade spirit crystals, his body trembled and a dragon's roar was heard. He had broken through to the late level 1 martial king realm. Oh my god! I've refined 30,000 pieces of top-quality spiritual crystals to break through from the middle stage of the level 1 martial king realm to the late stage. It's too costly. I still have 120,000 pieces of top-quality spiritual crystals with me. I think I can only break through to the early stage of the level 2 martial king realm at most. Lu Ming was speechless at the consumption of the best-grade spirit crystals. This consumption was too terrifying. How could ordinary people afford it? I don't care anymore. No matter how many resources I consume, increasing my strength is the only way. Then Lu Ming took out 10,000 pieces of top-grade spiritual crystals and exploded them all. He then began to devour and refine them. At this moment, Sheng Wushuang, Sheng Kong, and Sheng Wei arrived outside the Eastern Heaven courtyard. Brothers, this is the East Sky courtyard where Lu Ming lives. He has just returned not long ago and should be inside. However, there is a large inscription formation guarding the courtyard. Sheng Wushuang revealed a flattering smile and spoke to Sheng Kong and Sheng Wei. In the Sheng family, the status of direct descendants and branch descendants were too different. The Sheng family had been in the Tianxian region for too long. They had countless branches, and many of them were no different from servants. Although Sheng Wushuang was extremely talented, he was still nothing in the eyes of the Sheng family's direct descendants. Yes, Sheng Kong nodded slightly and said, so what if there's a rune formation? Just blast it out directly. After saying that, the holy sky struck out with a palm. The earth's spiritual chi in the world gathered madly and turned into a huge yellow hand. The hand was as big as a small mountain, and it directly smacked down on the Eastern Heaven courtyard. Buzz! The Eastern Heaven courtyard glowed and runes appeared, forming a light screen. Boom! The huge yellow hand hit the light curtain. Although it didn't break the light curtain, the Eastern Heaven courtyard started to shake. At this moment, Lu Ming was refining the spiritual chi of the supreme-grade spirit crystal with all his might. Suddenly, the entire courtyard shook violently as if it was about to explode. This was too sudden. Lu Ming was shocked. In his shock, the essential core in his body could not help but run wild. Lu Ming's face turned red and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Damn it, who is it? You actually dare to attack the Eastern Sky Courtyard? Lu Ming roared in his heart. He then circulated the true war dragon technique with all his might to stabilize the chaotic vital essence. Outside, the sacred sky palm shook the entire mountain. One figure after another flew into the sky. Who's there? You dare to attack the Eastern Sky Courtyard? This is against the rules. Look, that's Sheng Wushuang. Who is he with? The others began to discuss. Who's there? You actually dare to attack the courtyard of another Ditian Divine Guard. You've already broken the rules. Follow me to the enforcement hall to be punished. A deacon flew over and shouted angrily. You're the one who's bold. This is the Sheng family's matter. Get lost. Go. Sheng Kong shouted and waved his hand. A purple gold jade token flew out and enlarged rapidly. There was a flash of light on it, and two big golden words were carved in the middle. Shengtian. The Sheng family's sacred sky token. The deacon's expression changed drastically. In the Sheng family, only the direct descendants of the Sheng family, and only the extremely outstanding ones, had the Divine Sky Medallion. It represented one's status. The scene was in an uproar. A direct descendant of the Sheng family had actually appeared here. Could it be that he was here to stand up for Sheng Wushuang? How could Sheng Wushuang be so powerful that he could invite a direct descendant of the Sheng family? Now why aren't you getting lost? Sheng Kong berated. The deacon squeezed out an ugly smile on his face. He glanced at the Eastern Sky Courtyard, gritted his teeth and left. Rules were useful to ordinary people. However, the Sheng clan was one of the two strongest clans in the Tianxian region. They simply ignored these rules. Continue. Let's see if you'll come out. The holy sky struck out another palm. A huge palm print crashed down on the Eastern Heaven Courtyard, causing it to shake violently. In the Eastern Sky Courtyard, Lu Ming's eyes were filled with killing intent. He then focused his mind and focused on stabilizing his true yuan. Boom! Boom! The palm prints of the holy sky kept striking down. The Eastern Heaven Courtyard was like a small boat in a storm, shaking continuously. Lu Ming is done for. Sheng Wushuang actually invited a direct descendant of the Sheng family. These two's auras are unfathomable. They're definitely not ordinary king tiers. In my opinion, there must be something else. It's just Sheng Wushuang. I'm afraid the direct descendants of the Sheng family wouldn't come so far to find trouble with Lu Ming. The other Ditian divine guards whispered among themselves ears. Chapter 498. For 98 I'll slap you 9 times. The holy sky struck out 9 palms in a row. When the 10th palm was about to be struck, a long roar came from the Eastern Sky Courtyard. A word cracked on the light screen and a figure rushed out. Oh, it's Lu Ming. He has rushed out. It's unwise. It's really unwise. The opponent can't break the inscription formation in the Eastern Sky Courtyard. If I were Lu Ming, I would hide in the Eastern Sky Courtyard so that the opponent can't do anything. I'm just courting death by rushing out now. Lu Ming is young and impetuous. He's talented too. Of course he can't stand it when he's being bullied. It's a pity that the opponent this time is a direct descendant of the Sheng family. A powerful king. Xue Chao can't compare to him. Lu Ming is in danger this time. Lu Ming stood in the void and saw Sheng Wushuang, Sheng Kong, and Sheng Wei at a glance. Sheng Wushuang, it's you again. I think you're looking for death. Lu Ming shouted angrily, his eyes emitting cold killing intent. Haha, Lu Ming, don't be so arrogant. This time you're the one who's going to die. Sheng Wushuang sneered without fear. The sacred sky stepped forward and looked at Lu Ming arrogantly. So you're Lu Ming. Very good. I thought you'd be like a turtle hiding in its shell and not coming out. Now that you're out, quickly destroy your cultivation and follow me to the central region of the Tianxian region. Sacred Sky placed his hands behind his back and ordered. Lu Ming looked at the holy sky as if he was looking at an idiot. Who was this guy? Did he have a problem with his brain? The moment he came out, He asked Lu Ming to destroy his cultivation and leave with him. Who did he think he was? Therefore, Lu Ming spoke up and said indifferently, "Where did this wild dog come from? Why are you barking in front of my door? Do you want to be my guard dog?" What? What did you just say? As soon as Lu Ming said that, Holy Sky was stunned. Lu Ming actually dared to speak to him like that. "Bastard, do you know who I am? Listen well. I'm a member of the Shang family, a direct descendant of the Shang family. Now kneel down and admit your mistake, slap yourself 100 times, and then destroy your own cultivation." Shang Kong shouted. "What bullshit Shang family? I've never heard of them. You were the one who attacked the Eastern Heaven courtyard just now, right? Very well, you've struck 9 times in total. I'll give you 9 slaps before you can leave." Lu Ming said indifferently. Everyone nearby was dumbfounded. Lu Ming was extremely arrogant. He was so arrogant in front of the direct descendant of the Shang family. He was simply courting death. Even without the Shang family's name, the other party was still a powerful martial king. Lu Ming was simply courting death. However, they did not know that Lu Ming had never heard of the Shang family. Moreover, given Lu Ming's character, even if he knew, he would have the same attitude. Shang Kong, Shang Wei, and the others were also dumbfounded. Especially Saint Kong, whose face was flushed red and his body was bursting with intense killing intent. He was so angry that he was trembling. He glared at Lu Ming and roared, "Little bastard, you're looking for death. You're looking for death. No one can save you." Boom! A tsunami-like aura burst out of the saint air. The terrifying pressure spread out for 10 miles. What a strong aura. This is a Level 2 Martial King Realm expert. Who is it? You dare to attack in the residence of the Detian Divine Guards? In the distance, many figures rushed out of a mountain peak. The previous batch of Detian Divine Guards lived on this mountain peak. Many of them had even broken through to the Martial King realm. Buzz! An NBSP whoosh! Oh! The Detian Divine Guards were also flying over. When they found out that it was a direct descendant of the Shang family, they were all shocked. No one dared to interfere. "Now kneel. Die!" The Holy Sky roared and stepped forward. He waved his palm and a huge khaki palm pressed down on Lu Ming. He's so strong. He's at the Level 2 Martial King realm, and his combat strength is definitely at the top of the Level 2 Martial King realm. He's a peerless genius. Lu Ming is finished. This person is more than 10 times stronger than Xue Chao. As soon as the holy air made its move, all sorts of thoughts flashed through the minds of the people around him. You're just a Level 2 Martial King realm martial artist. What's there to be proud of? Lu Ming's calm voice was heard just as the huge khaki palm was about to hit Lu Ming. Then Lu Ming threw a punch. The huge khaki palm exploded as if it was made of tofu. Lu Ming stepped forward. In a flash, he appeared in front of the Holy Sky. The Holy Sky did not expect Lu Ming to be able to break through his attack so easily and appear in front of him so quickly. According to the Thunder Palace Master and Shang Wushuang, wasn't Lu Ming only a half-step king 2 months ago? How could a half-step king have such a strong battle power? Therefore, it was already too late for him to dodge. Lu Ming raised his hand and slapped. Pa! The crisp sound of the slap spread far and wide. The slap made Saint Kong spin more than 10 times on the spot. He then looked at Lu Ming with a dumbfounded expression. He was completely stunned. The others were also stunned. All of them widened their eyes and stared at it. Lu Ming had actually slapped Holy Sky. How did he do it? The aura that had just burst out from the Holy Sky had reached Level 2 Martial King realm. Everyone thought they were dreaming. The first slap, 8 more slaps. It was only when Lu Ming's indifferent voice rang out that everyone came to their senses. CSI. Immediately gasps were heard. A king. To be able to defeat Shang Kong's attack and slap him, he was definitely a king. Lu Ming had already reached the king's realm. How was this possible? Wasn't this speed a little too fast? Not long ago, when Lu Ming challenged Xue Chao, he was only a half-step king. In less than 2 months, Lu Ming had already reached the king realm. He was simply a monster. One had to know that even peerless geniuses would have to stay at the half-step king realm for a period of time. It could be as short as a year, or as long as several years before they could attempt to break through to the king realm. Furthermore, the success rate was not high. Now Lu Ming had actually become a king in just a few months. Moreover, he had even slapped a second-grade martial king realm genius in the face. This was simply unbelievable. Especially Shang Wushuang, who was so shocked that his eyes were about to pop out and his body was trembling violently. A few months ago, he had reprimanded Lu Ming. He could still remember it clearly. Now Lu Ming had completely left him in the dust. Only then did the sacred sky react and let out a crazy cry. Pa! Lu Ming waved his hand and slapped Shen Kong's face again. Shen Kong's scream stopped abruptly and his body flew far away. You're looking for death. On the side, Saintly Might let out an angry cry. A terrifying aura burst out of his body. Strands of red flames surrounded him. The scorching aura spread out, burning and twisting the space. The aura of a peak level 2 martial king realm. Blazing dragon fist. Die! He roared and threw a punch. A dragon of flames pounced at Lu Ming with its fangs and claws bared. It was extremely terrifying. Even an ordinary warrior of the early stage of the 3rd level of the martial king realm would not dare to take this attack head-on. There was no doubt that Shang Wei was a peerless genius. He could even cross levels to fight a martial king. True Dragon Strike. The demon-subduing spear appeared in Lu Ming's hands. He thrust the spear forward and a 3-colored true dragon flew out. The 2 true dragons collided in the air. Chapter 499. 499 Chapter 499 Sacred Light Strikes. Boom! Oh! A deafening explosion and a dragon's roar reverberated through the heavens and earth. In the end, the dragon of flames was no match for him. It exploded piece by piece and disappeared. Roar! Although the 3-colored true dragon was much smaller, it still pounced toward the holy aura. Xingwei's body trembled violently as he retreated. The scene was dead silent. Lu Ming was way too powerful. Not only had he broken through to the martial king realm, but he was also no match for the holy aura of a peak level 2 martial king. This was unbelievable. Boom! Lu Ming strode forward and waved his hand. A huge palm print enveloped the holy sky. Let's attack together. The Saint Sky roared. On the other side, the Saint Might had also recovered. It burst out with all its power and charged toward Lu Ming. When the two of them joined forces, their power was extremely terrifying. However, it was all in vain. Boom! Boom! After a few explosions, Shang Wei coughed out blood and retreated like a cannonball. Then there was another crisp slap. Lu Ming had slapped Holy Sky's face again. The third slap. Lu Ming's calm voice was heard. Die, die, little bastard. I want you to die without a burial place. Die. The sacred sky roared like a madman. He was going crazy. Who was he? He was a direct descendant of the Shang family, and a peerless genius at that. He had grown up with a golden spoon in his mouth. Who would dare to treat him like this? Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, he was slapped 3 times by Lu Ming. This was worse than killing him. So much nonsense, fight. Lu Ming's figure moved and he charged towards the holy sky again. The holy sky roared in anger and attacked Lu Ming madly, but it was all in vain. Pa! He received another heavy slap on his face. It was extremely clear and could be heard clearly. The fourth slap. Lu Ming's calm voice was heard again. The holy sky roared wildly, his heart on the verge of collapse. The others felt a chill in their gums, as if this slap had landed on their faces. Lu Ming let go of holy sky. Do you know that you've caused a great disaster? On the side, Shang Wei roared. His face was full of horror, and he didn't dare to help. What a joke. I slapped him a few times and it's a great disaster. He just attacked the Eastern Sky Courtyard. Why don't you say that he has caused a great disaster? Lu Ming chided with a cold smile. Lu Ming, we're the direct descendants of the Shang family. Did you know that? We are different from you. Die! Shang Wei roared, especially addressing the direct descendants of the Shang family. What bullshit, direct descendant of the Shang family. He's worthless in my eyes. Pa! As soon as Lu Ming finished speaking, he slapped Sacred Sky's face again. The 5th slap. Pa! The 6th slap. The 7th slap. Oh! The sound of slaps rang out continuously. At the scene, everyone was dumbfounded as they looked on in a daze. Especially Shang Wushuang, whose face was drained of all color and his body was trembling in fear. At that moment, Shang Kong's face was swollen like a pig's head. All the meridians in his body were sealed, and he had completely lost the power to resist. Stop! When Lu Ming was done with his 8th slap and was about to give his 9th, an earth-shattering roar came from afar. Ah, Lu Ming, you're dead. Put down the holy sky. Hearing this voice, Shang Wei was overjoyed, because this voice belonged to the elder's sacred glory. Lu Ming frowned and a cold glint flashed in his eyes. However, his palm did not stop and he slapped down for the 9th time. Pa! Shang Kong's entire body was sent flying. How dare you? You're looking for death. The voice rang out again, filled with rage and cold killing intent. Buzz! Buzz! There were 2 more figures at the scene. One of them was the master of Thunder Palace, and the other was an elder of the Shang family, Shang Yao. At this moment, their eyes were filled with a terrifying killing intent. Damn it, Lu Ming, that little bastard has broken through to the Martial King realm, and his combat strength is so strong. Chao Chong Kong and the rest are probably dead. Thunder Palace Master roared in his heart. Previously, he thought that someone was helping Lu Ming. However, it was proven that Lu Ming did not need anyone's help at all. The experts that he had sent were not Lu Ming's match. He had already tried his best to overestimate Lu Ming. He had set up a chain of traps and even sent a 3rd-level Martial King and 4 2nd-level Martial King experts to deal with Lu Ming, who was only a half-step king. This was simply an impossible situation to fail in, but it had failed. Little bastard, I told you to stop, didn't you hear me? Sacred Light looked at Lu Ming with an extremely cold gaze. Didn't I just stop? Lu Ming smiled faintly. Lu Ming, do you know who this is? This is an elder of the Shang family. How dare you quibble in front of an elder of the Shang family? You're courting death. Also, how dare you injure the hero of the Shang family? You've committed a grave crime. Shouldn't you kneel down and destroy your cultivation? Thunder Palace Master shouted. Plead guilty? Hee, that guy attacked the Eastern Sky Courtyard without asking for the right or wrong. According to the rules, he should be punished. I was just fighting back. What crime do I have? Lu Ming replied indifferently without any fear. Shut up, who are you? How can a lowly life be compared to the Shang family's direct line of descent? Kneel down and admit your guilt. Thunder Palace Master shouted. I'll kneel to your mother. Old man, you think you're a dog, but don't think of others as dogs. If you want to kneel and lick the Shang family's boots, then go back and slowly kneel and lick them. Lu Ming shouted. He was already filled with killing intent towards the Palace Master of Thunder Palace. Now that the Palace Master of Thunder Palace kept calling him a little bastard, and then knelt down to admit his guilt, Lu Ming was instantly enraged. He did not give him any face at all. The other Detian Divine Guards were dumbfounded. This Lu Ming was simply too audacious. He actually dared to scold the Thunder Palace Master in public. As expected, the Thunder Palace Master's face turned red and his body trembled with anger. He pointed at Lu Ming and shouted, Treasonous, treasonous! Brother Zheng, why are you wasting your breath on him? We'll talk after we cripple his cultivation. Die! The Holy Brilliant shouted coldly and raised his hand. A terrifying fire concept burst out, forming a giant flaming hand that grabbed at Lu Ming. The world was scorching hot. Both of them had the same fire concept, but the Holy Power and the Holy Brilliance were trash. They were worlds apart. There was no comparison at all. Not good. Lu Ming's expression changed drastically. He could feel a terrifying aura of death approaching him. The aura was so strong that he could not resist it at all. The difference was too great. Let's go. The Divine Guard's token glowed. Behind Lu Ming, the protective light screen of the Eastern Sky Courtyard cracked open and Lu Ming rushed in. Then the light screen gathered. Hide? Was there any use hiding inside? Break! Holy Light shouted coldly. Boom! The huge fire palm directly hit the light curtain of the eastern sky courtyard. The light curtain shook violently, and the entire mountain peak shook as if it was going to explode. However, in the end, the light screen still managed to block the attack. Again. Sacred Light frowned and struck out with another palm. This palm was several times stronger than the previous one. Ha ha, Lu Ming. You dare to disrespect me? Only death awaits you. Thunder Palace Master sneered in his heart. As for Sheng Wushuang, he was also overjoyed. Die. Lu Ming, no matter how arrogant you are, what's the use of facing the Sheng family? In the Tianxian region, apart from the Mu family, the Sheng family is the sky and everything. Sheng Wushuang laughed wildly in his heart. At this moment, a gust of wind blew, and the flaming hand that covered the eastern sky courtyard dissipated at a speed visible to the naked eye, turning into nothingness. The eastern heaven courtyard regained its peace. In the eastern sky courtyard, Lu Ming spat out a few mouthfuls of blood. His clothes were stained with blood, his face was pale, and his breathing was shallow. He was already seriously injured just now. Old man. Lu Ming lay on the ground and cursed. Outside the eastern sky courtyard, the Holy Light's expression changed. Mu Zheng. A solemn voice came out of Holy Light's mouth. Without a sound, an old man in a green robe appeared with a faint smile on his face. This subordinate greets the Palace Master. The Wind Palace Master, Fire Palace Master, and the others, including the Thunder Palace Master, changed their expressions and hurriedly saluted the old man. What? The Palace Master? Ah, could he be the Palace Lord of the Eastern Palace of the Tianxian region? This time, many of the Ditian Divine Guards revealed shocked expressions. The Palace Lord of the Eastern Palace of the Tianxian region was a mysterious figure, and very few people had ever seen him. No one had expected him to show up today. This subordinate greets the Palace Master. The Ditian Divine Guards present all saluted the green-robed elder. Damn it, isn't Mu Zheng in closed-door cultivation? Why did he come out of seclusion? Damn it! Thunder Palace Master roared in his heart. No need to be so polite. Mu Zheng waved his sleeve and a gentle breeze blew. Everyone felt a gentle force lifting them up. Palace Master? Could it be that the Palace Master has arrived? In the eastern sky courtyard, Lu Ming naturally heard the voices outside and his expression changed. Then he struggled to get up and walked out of the eastern sky courtyard. As soon as Lu Ming walked out, everyone's eyes turned to him in unison. This little bastard is still alive? It can actually move. The Thunder Palace Master thought. The Wind Palace Master and the others heaved a sigh of relief. However, Sacred Light's eyes were filled with killing intent. Mu Zheng, you've come at the right time. This little bastard has offended his superiors, talked back to his elders, and even injured the elites of my Shang clan. He deserves to die 1,000 deaths. Now, I'll take him back to the central region and deal with him. Sheng Yao said coldly. Hey Jia, don't play this trick in front of me. Do you think I don't know what kind of people you are? Lu Ming beat up your Sheng family member, and you're the one who asked for it. You're useless, so who can you blame? Is there a need to talk back to an elder? As an elder, if he didn't do what an elder should do, shouldn't he talk back? We can fight. Mu Zheng smiled faintly and casually glanced at the Thunder Palace Master. Thunder Palace Master's face immediately turned pale, and his heart turned cold. Mu Zheng, what's wrong with you? It seems like you're determined to interfere today? Sheng Yao's face was extremely ugly as he shouted. This place is the Eastern Palace of the Tianxian region, and is under my jurisdiction. What do you think about causing trouble here? Mu Zheng said. Good, very good. Mu Zheng, I've heard that you're about to open up your spirit ocean and break through to the spirit ocean realm. Today I'd like to give it a try. Sacred Light's eyes showed a trace of fighting intent. A battle in the air. Mu Zheng's answer was very simple. Buzz! Buzz! Mu Zheng and the sacred glory flashed and rushed into the sky. Boom! An earth-shaking boom came from the sky, and a powerful pressure spread out for hundreds of miles. The wind and the flames covered the entire sky. Chapter 501. 501 The Peak Battle. It was as if a sun had exploded in the sky. Oh! A blazing storm spread down from the sky. Not good. The Wind Palace Master, Fire Palace Master, and the others moved and appeared above the crowd. With a wave of their hands, they formed a light screen and blocked the firestorm that was surging toward them. Boom! 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 Following that, terrifying rumbles sounded in the sky. Those with lower cultivation felt their eardrums rumble, and their faces turned pale. They almost vomited blood. As for those at the rank of Martial King and above, they were staring at the sky. However, most people could not see their figures clearly. They could only see a mass of green energy and a mass of red energy constantly bombarding each other. Each time it struck, it would produce an earth-shaking boom. The blazing light simply covered the sun in the sky. Fortunately, the two of them were fighting in the sky. If they were on the ground within 100 miles would have been cracked. Is this the power of a peak-tier king? He's really strong. Lu Ming looked up at the sky, his fists clenched tightly. This kind of power was indeed far beyond his current strength. However, he was not discouraged at all. Instead, his eyes were burning with fighting spirit. As long as you give me 2 years, I can definitely surpass that old man. Lu Ming muttered. The battle in the sky continued, and it became more and more intense. Finally, green and red light filled the entire sky, and the people below could no longer see what was happening above. After about 2 minutes, the green and red lights dissipated, and 2 figures flew down from the sky. It was Mu Zheng and Sacred Glory. But now Sacred Glory looked very embarrassed. It was panting like a bull, its face was slightly pale, and there was a trace of blood at the corner of its mouth. On the other hand, Mu Zheng's breathing was calm, his face was ruddy, and his clothes were neat and tidy. He was completely fine. Now I'll let you off this time. Let's go and leave the eastern part of the Tianxian region, Mu Zheng said. Haha, good, very good. Mu Zheng, do you think that you can protect this little bastard like this? He's too naive. If the Sheng family wants him dead, he'll die. Holy Light shouted. Sheng Yao, do you think that the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace belongs to your Sheng family? The ruler of the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace is Martial Emperor Di. We are just helping Martial Emperor Di manage the various places. Your Sheng family will be burned by fire sooner or later with such behavior. Mu Zheng shouted. Mu Zheng, the Sheng family is loyal. You don't have to use Martial Emperor Di to suppress me. I'll make it clear today. You've helped him once, but you can't help him a second time. You've offended the Sheng family, and your fate has been decided. Shut up. Holy Light shouted coldly. He then looked at Lu Ming and said coldly, Little bastard, just you wait, you won't have many days left. Old man, I was just about to say the same words to you. I'll remember what happened today. Wash your neck clean and wait for me. One day I'll cut off your head. Lu Ming retorted, giving tit for tat. Ha ha ha. Sacred Glory laughed in anger. Cold killing intent burst out from his body. He stared at Lu Ming and said, It's useless to have a sharp tongue. Just you wait. Let's go back to the Sheng family. Sheng Yao waved his hand and led the way to the exit of the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace. The Holy Sky and Holy Might glared at Lu Ming with bitter resentment, then followed the Holy Brilliance and left in the distance. Elder, wait for me. Sheng Wushuang was so scared that his face turned pale. He didn't dare to stay here any longer. When Sacred Light and the others left, he would be in trouble. Therefore, he simply left with Sacred Light and the others. This little bastard, he's escaped again. Thunder Palace Master was filled with hatred. With a move he left the place. The storm had ended with Mu Zheng's arrival. Junior Lu Ming greets the Palace Master. Thank you for saving me. Lu Ming came in front of Mu Zheng and saluted with cupped fists. However, his mind was spinning rapidly. Mu Zheng, also surnamed Mu. I wonder how he's related to Mulan. Mu Zheng revealed a warm smile and said, "There's no need to thank me. This is the Eastern Palace of the Tianxian region, and you're my Detian Divine Guard. It's only right for me to help you." At this moment, the Wind Palace Master, Fire Palace Master, and Gold Palace Master had also arrived. "Lu Ming, are you all right?" The Wind Palace Master asked worriedly. "Thank you for your concern, Palace Master Feng. It's just a small injury, nothing serious," Lu Ming said. "That's good." The Wind Palace Master and the others heaved a sigh of relief. "Lu Ming, this rejuvenated spirit pill is very good for healing. Take it and go back to heal your injuries. Also, you have to improve your strength as soon as possible. I don't think the Sheng family will let this go easily." Mu Zheng looked at Lu Ming and said, "Many thanks, Palace Master." Lu Ming did not refuse. He took the pill and bowed. Then, he turned around and returned to the Eastern Sky Courtyard. "Go back to your own cultivation." Mu Zheng waved his hand slightly. All the onlookers had left. In the end, only Mu Zheng was left. At this moment, a young man in a white robe stepped through the air and appeared beside Mu Zheng. If Lu Ming was here, he would definitely be able to recognize that this young man was Mu Shiyuan. He was the one who came to warn Lu Ming to be careful of other people's challenges when Lu Ming first joined the Emperor Sky Divine Palace. "Sixth uncle." Mu Shiyuan saluted Mu Zheng. Mu Zheng looked at the Eastern Heaven Courtyard and frowned. After a while he sighed and said, "There's a limit to what we can do to help that girl. They'll have to rely on them Slaviers for the rest. Sixth uncle, you don't have to worry too much. I think Lu Ming's talent is extremely terrifying. In a few years, he might be able to compete with the Holy Star." Mu Shiyuan said, "I'm just afraid that I won't be able to wait a few years." Mu Zheng sighed. Mu Shiyuan was silent and did not speak. "Forget it. Let's leave it to their good fortune. Let's go." Mu Zheng sighed and left the place with Mu Xiaoyuan. "Oh." Lu Ming walked into the Eastern Sky Courtyard and sat down cross-legged. He took out the pill that Mu Zheng gave him and swallowed it. The moment the pill entered his mouth, it turned into a crystal-like liquid and slid down his throat. Then it turned into a warm energy that spread throughout Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's injured body was recovering rapidly. His cracked bones were also healing rapidly. What a mysterious healing elixir. This is probably an upper level 5 elixir. Lu Ming's heart stirred. Soon after, he circulated the True War Dragon technique and combined it with the medicinal effects of the elixir to begin healing his injured body. Lu Ming's injuries were recovering rapidly. A day later, Lu Ming's injuries had fully recovered. Lu Ming took a bath in the small stream in the courtyard. He washed off the blood scabs on his body, revealing his bronze-colored skin. Then Lu Ming changed into a long black robe, looking very energetic. "What's the reason for the Sheng family? You're suddenly finding trouble with me and even want to bring me to the central continent. Is it because I beat up Sheng Wushuang?" Lu Ming sat cross-legged and thought to himself. This matter was a little strange. If it was because of their grudge against Sheng Wushuang, the Sheng family wouldn't have made such a big move. They even sent out peak-tier kings. How was this possible? Lu Ming had some doubts about this matter. Forget it. If I can't figure it out, I'll stop thinking about it. Now, I'll continue to refine spiritual crystals and raise my cultivation. Lu Ming took out another 10,000 pieces of top-grade spiritual crystals and exploded them. He then began to devour the spiritual energy in the top-grade spiritual crystals to improve his cultivation. Soon, he finished devouring the 10,000 supreme spiritual crystals and took out another 10,000 to continue devouring. After devouring 30,000 pieces, Lu Ming's cultivation had successfully broken through to the peak of the first-level Martial King realm. Chapter 502. 502 The Path Understanding Ancient Tree. In addition to the 10,000 pieces of top-grade spirit crystals he had wasted when he was disturbed by the holy air, Lu Ming had spent a total of 70,000 pieces of top-grade spirit crystals to increase his cultivation from the middle stage of the first-level Martial King realm to the peak of the first-level Martial King realm. Oh, Lu Ming still had 80,000 pieces of top-grade spiritual crystals left. Now let's start to break through to the second level of the Martial King realm. With a wave of his hand, another dense mass of supreme-grade spirit crystals appeared in the air. This time Lu Ming took out 20,000 pieces of top-grade spiritual crystals at one go. Bang! Bang! Pieces of top-grade spiritual crystals exploded like fireworks, and rich spiritual qi filled the air. They were all swallowed by the nine-dragon bloodline. The majestic energy turned into rolling essential core, and Lu Ming began to break through to the second level of the Martial King realm. Not long after, he had refined all 20,000 pieces of top-grade spirit crystals. Lu Ming took out another 20,000 pieces. Soon, I'm just one step away from breaking through to the second level of the Martial King realm. This time Lu Ming waved his hand and took out 30,000 pieces of top-grade spiritual crystals. 30,000 pieces of spiritual crystals of the highest quality contained an extremely terrifying amount of energy. It was about to break through to the second level of the Martial King realm. Half a day later boom! With a loud boom, Lu Ming's aura rose several times. He had broken through to the second level of the Martial King realm. What a powerful primordial qi. It's 3 times stronger than a level 1 Martial King realm martial artist. Lu Ming felt the vast essential core in his body and pondered. It was no wonder that the gap between each level of the Martial King realm was so huge. Now, I only have 10,000 supreme spiritual crystals left. This is a huge expense. Lu Ming sighed with emotion. Of course, this was only for him. If other people were to cultivate, they would definitely not need so many top-grade spiritual crystals. Moreover, it was also because Lu Ming's thunder concept had long reached level 1 lower tier that he could break through his cultivation without any worries. Most people had to work hard to comprehend the essence realm of heaven and earth. With every step forward, their cultivation would improve. Lu Ming's essence realm of heaven and earth had improved by so much in one go. If only I had enough top-grade spiritual crystals, my cultivation could rise all the way to level 4 Martial King realm and become a king tier lower tier. Lu Ming was thinking in his heart. However, he immediately shook his head. If he needed so many spiritual crystals to advance to level 1 Martial King realm, then the number of spiritual crystals needed to advance to level 2 and level 3 Martial King realm would definitely reach a terrifying number. Looks like I'll have to find ways to get more resources later on. Also, this Dandan, ever since she ate the heavenly tribulation last time, she hasn't made any movements. I wonder how she's doing. Lu Ming picked up Dandan that was hanging in his hair and took a closer look. If it were not for the layer of crystal luster on the eggshell and the life force emanating from the stone egg, Lu Ming was really afraid that something would happen to him. After all, it had just eaten a heavenly tribulation. What? At this moment, Lu Ming's expression changed. He waved his hand and a jade box appeared on the ground. There were 2 pitch-black branches in the jade box, and half a box of spring water. There was originally a box of clear spring water, but now only half of it was left. One of the 2 pitch-black withered branches that were soaked in the spring actually had a tender shoot growing out of it. That's right, one of the withered branches actually came alive. A stretch of tender shoot grew out, and on the tender shoot, there were spots of light shining, making the tender shoot look crystal clear. However, what surprised Lu Ming the most was that there was a mysterious aura emanating from this bud. Under this aura, Lu Ming's mind was exceptionally clear. It was as if he had abandoned everything and was immersed in the great Tao of heaven and earth. In the past, he was actually able to quickly figure out some of the things he didn't understand about martial arts. Enlightenment. In this state, Lu Ming seemed to be in enlightenment. Amazing, this is too amazing. Just what is the origin of this withered branch? It's just a tender shoot, but it can actually help people comprehend the Tao. Lu Ming was extremely shocked. Now, I'll try to comprehend the essence realm of heaven and earth. At once, Lu Ming closed his eyes and began to comprehend the concept of wind. Immediately, Lu Ming could feel that his understanding of the wind concept was very clear. The speed of comprehension was at least 10 times faster than before. Oh my god, this is too magical. Lu Ming's eyes were fixed on the tender shoot. It was then that Lu Ming noticed that there were wondrous lines on the tender shoot. They looked like true dragons, phoenixes, qilin, and other ancient mythical beasts. It was extremely profound. According to the legends, there was a kind of spiritual root in the primitive times called the path understanding spiritual root. This kind of spiritual root would grow into spiritual trees of various shapes. These spiritual trees were collectively called the path understanding ancient tree. It was said that in the primitive times, the most powerful people in the world would plant a path understanding ancient tree beside them to help with their cultivation. Could it be that this withered branch fell from one of the path understanding ancient trees? Lu Ming suddenly thought of a legend. At the thought of this legend, Lu Ming's heart burned with passion. Is it true? If it's true, then I'm going to be rich. Lu Ming found it hard to believe. After all, the path understanding ancient tree was too rare. In the primordial age, only the most powerful people in the world could control one. Every one of those powerhouses was unbelievably powerful. The current martial emperor was like an ant in front of those powerhouses. It's a secret. I must keep it a secret. No matter if it's true or not, I can't let anyone know. Otherwise, I'll be dead for sure. Lu Ming knew very well that if this section was really the path understanding ancient tree, the entire divine wilderness continent would go into a riot. Those martial royal realm experts would definitely do whatever it took to seize the path understanding ancient tree. Now it had only grown one bud, and it could increase Lu Ming's comprehension speed by 10 times. What if it grew 2, 3 or more? How much help would it be to Lu Ming? Lu Ming quickly put the jade box into the supreme shrine and entered it. Regardless of whether it's the real path understanding ancient tree or not, it's a fact that it can increase the speed of comprehension by 10 times. Just this point alone is priceless. Haha, I'm rich. Lu Ming was overjoyed. After that, Lu Ming began to comprehend various martial arts techniques. As expected, under the mysterious aura of the tender shoot, Lu Ming's mind became extremely clear. Regardless of whether it was comprehending martial arts techniques or the concept of heaven and earth, his speed had increased by about 10 times. Start cultivating. Lu Ming placed the jade box beside him and started to comprehend the concept of wind. He planned to first condense the wind concept into concept runes. For his attacks, he temporarily had the thunder concept. As long as he could condense the wind concept into a concept rune, his speed would increase by a large margin. In the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed. Lu Ming's comprehension of the concept of wind had improved rapidly. It was equivalent to the results of a month's comprehension in the past. However, Lu Ming still felt that he was too slow. If I use this Dao Comprehension ancient tree in the Dao Comprehension Palace and combine it with that intent, wouldn't my comprehension speed be even faster? Lu Ming could not help but think. Regardless of whether this was the real path understanding ancient tree or not, Lu Ming simply called it the path understanding ancient tree. He did not call it for any other reason but to feel good. Lu Ming immediately set off for the Dao Enlightenment Palace. Chapter 503. 503 The second concept rune. The Dao Enlightenment Palace costs 100 top-grade spiritual crystals a day. Lu Ming booked the place for 2 months and spent 6,000 top-grade spiritual crystals. After entering the Dao Enlightenment Palace, the Dao of heaven and earth floated. In the end, the intent realms of wind, fire, and thunder appeared particularly clearly. Lu Ming took out the path understanding ancient tree and placed it in front of him. Then, he cast aside the fire and thunder concepts and focused on comprehending the wind concept. After a long while, Lu Ming opened his eyes and there was a flash of joy in his eyes. As expected, the effect of the ancient tree of comprehension could be superimposed with the artistic conception here. It made Lu Ming's comprehension speed faster. It was at least 30 times faster than before. 30 times. In other words, 1 day of Lu Ming's current comprehension was equivalent to 1 month of his previous comprehension. 1 day was equivalent to 1 month. How shocking was this? Immediately Lu Ming seized every minute and second to comprehend. As the days went by, Lu Ming's comprehension of the concept of wind was rapidly improving. A month later, it was equivalent to 2.5 years of Lu Ming's cultivation in the past. After 2.5 years of comprehending the wind concept, he had finally comprehended the wind concept to the point where he could condense concept runes. Start. Condense intent runes. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. Buzz. The concept of wind filled the air and then completely converged. It began to condense in Lu Ming's sea of consciousness. 2 hours later, an inch-long green rune was formed. This time there was no heavenly tribulation. Everything was calm. Just like that, Lu Ming's second concept rune was successfully condensed. So cool. It's so cool to comprehend here. If I have enough supreme-grade spirit crystals, I can cultivate in seclusion here for a few years. Will I be able to comprehend a will to the completion of level 1? Lu Ming secretly sighed. However, I'm still too slow. I don't have much time. It's been more than 1.5 years since the 10-year deadline. It's almost 2 years now. Even at this speed, I won't have the strength to compete with Martial Emperor D by the time the 10-year deadline is up. I need to be faster. The more leaves the path understanding ancient tree has, the stronger its ability to help people comprehend the path. It seems that in the future, I need to find more treasures like spiritual liquid that can cultivate spiritual herbs to speed up the growth of the path understanding ancient tree. All sorts of thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind. Shaking his head, Lu Ming suppressed these thoughts for the time being and continued to comprehend. This time he began to comprehend the concept of fire. In the blink of an eye, more than 20 days had passed. Lu Ming's fire concept had also begun to improve rapidly. On this day, the space around them started to tremble. They're trying to teleport me out. What's going on? It's clearly not time yet. There's still a few more days. Lu Ming waved his hand and put away the martial arts ancient tree. He was full of doubts. Buzz. After a dozen breaths, the space trembled and Lu Ming disappeared. The next moment he appeared outside the Tao Enlightenment Palace. Lu Ming. The messenger from the Profound Sky Sub-Palace is here to look for you. You have to come out earlier. You have 6 days. I'll return the 600 supreme spiritual crystals to you. One of the Tao Enlightenment Palace's guardian elders waved his hand and 600 top-grade spirit crystals flew towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming reached out to take it, but his heart was full of doubts. An emissary from the Profound Sky Sub-Palace? Lu Ming frowned. The Profound Heavens Sub-Palace was the main headquarters of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace in the Profound Heavens region. It was said that in the early days, there was only one branch palace of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace in a large region. For example, in the Tianxian region, there was only one branch palace set up in the most prosperous place in the central part of the Tianxian region. Later on, because the territory of a large region was too vast, a few small sub-palaces were set up in various places. The Tianxian region had set up a small palace in each of the 4 directions to help manage the 4 territories. However, the real core was still in the Tianxian sub-palace. The 4 sub-palaces had to obey the orders of Tianxian sub-palace. Now, the Tianxian sub-palace had actually sent an emissary to look for him. Could it be the Sheng family? Lu Ming had an idea and thought of the Sheng family. That was the only possibility. The Sheng family is finally going to make a move? I'd like to see what kind of tricks you'll use. There was a sharp glint in Lu Ming's eyes. Buzz. At this moment, a figure rushed over from the distance and appeared in front of Lu Ming. Lu Ming, you're finally out of seclusion. Go to the missions hall now, there's a mission for you. The person who came was a deacon of the mission hall. He looked middle-aged and spoke. Senior, what kind of mission is it that you want me to come out of seclusion in such a hurry? Lu Ming cupped his fists and said. AI. A few months ago, the Heavenly Corpse sect launched a large-scale invasion into the Tianxian region. In the central region of the Tianxian region, they have already fought many battles with the Tianxian sub-palace and suffered heavy losses. This time, the Profound Sky Subpalace has issued a mobilization order to the 4 subpalaces to transfer a portion of the Emperor Sky Divine Guards to the central region as reinforcements. Your name is also on the list of people to be transferred. The middle-aged deacon had a good impression of Lu Ming and explained everything to him in detail. My name was indicated. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. According to common sense, Tianxian Subpalace only needed to tell the Eastern Subpalace a specific number for this kind of selection task. The Eastern Subpalace would arrange the number of experts by themselves. Why would they specify the name of the person? This was obviously intentional. Lu Ming was certain that this was definitely the Shang family's doing. Then, the two of them walked toward the Mission Palace Hall. Lu Ming saw the Wind Palace Master at the entrance of the mission's hall. Hall Master. The middle-aged deacon bowed to the Wind Palace Master. Yes, the Wind Palace Master nodded and said, "You can go in first. I have something to say to Lu Ming." Yes. The middle-aged attendant bowed and walked into the Mission Palace Hall. Lu Ming, I'm sure you already have a rough idea of the matter. The Palace Master of Wind said. It's probably clear now. Lu Ming nodded. This time you must be careful. The Profound Sky Subpalace has asked you to go with them. This is definitely the doing of the Shang family. Moreover, the Shang family used the excuse of supporting the Profound Sky Subpalace and destroying the Sky Corp sect as an excuse. Even the Palace Master can't refuse. As for the Central Continent, the Shang family is extremely powerful. They just want to call you to the Central Continent so that they can deal with you however they want. The Wind Palace Master said with a grave expression. They won't let a few of the older generation kill me, right? Lu Ming asked. Of course not. Although the Shang family is strong, they still have some scruples. However, the younger generation doesn't have such scruples. Furthermore, if they play any tricks, it's impossible to guard against them. The Palace Master of Wind said. Lu Ming nodded. The older generation would not make a move openly. It was much easier for the younger generation. Lu Ming immediately thanked the Wind Palace Master. The Wind Palace Master had repeatedly reminded Lu Ming to be careful in the middle region, and to keep a low profile. Lu Ming naturally nodded in agreement and walked into the mission's hall. Chapter 504. 504 Heading to the Central Continent. The middle-aged deacon brought Lu Ming along to complete the mission procedures. Oh, Lu Ming, come to the Hall of Missions tomorrow morning and gather with the others. Form the first group of reinforcements and head to Tianxian Subpalace. After that, there will be a few more groups heading to Tianxian Subpalace separately. The middle-aged attendant said. All right. Lu Ming nodded. He then left the Hall of Missions and returned to the Eastern Sky Courtyard. Sitting cross-legged in the courtyard, Lu Ming's thoughts were running wild. Tianxian Subpalace, the Shang family. Senior sister Mulan should be in Tianxian Subpalace too. Alright, even if Tianxian Subpalace is a dragon's pool or a tiger's den, Lu Ming will still go there. Then Lu Ming continued to study the concept of fire. After this period of comprehension, the fire concept was about to reach the level of condensing concept runes. As long as the fire concept condensed into concept runes, then the wind, fire, fierce lightning concepts would all reach concept runes. Lu Ming's combat strength would undoubtedly be greatly improved. Moreover, he could even cultivate the fourth level of the Dragon God's 3 absolutes. Beside a small lake, Mu Zheng was standing with his hands behind his back. Mu Shuyuan was standing beside him. Sixth uncle, the Sheng family is so fast. They actually use this trick to summon Lu Ming to Tianxian Subpalace. What should we do now? Mu Shuyuan said. The Sheng family's move is indeed brilliant. Even I can't refuse it. Lu Ming's arrival in Tianxian Subpalace is undoubtedly a dangerous move. Mu Zheng sighed slightly. How about this? Yuan Xiao, you go to Tianxian Subpalace immediately and wait for an opportunity to take care of Lu Ming. Mu Zheng continued. Alright, I'll set off immediately. Mu Shuyuan nodded, and then his figure flashed, and he disappeared without a trace. In the Lightning Palace, the Lightning Palace master laughed wildly and was extremely carefree. Haha, Lu Ming, You'll be dead by the time we get to Tianqian Sub-Palace. I'll just wait here for your good news. Oh. A day passed in the blink of an eye. The next morning, Lu Ming arrived at the mission's hall. There were already some people gathered in the mission hall. Lu Ming swept his gaze across them. There were men and women, young and old, but all of them were martial kings. A few of them had terrifying auras and were unfathomable. Lower-tier king tier. Those people were definitely lower-tier kings. The number of people was still slowly increasing. More than 10 minutes later, there were exactly 50 people in the mission's hall, including Lu Ming. At this moment, an old man walked into the mission palace hall. Palace Master. Greetings, Palace Master. Everyone saluted. This old man was Mu Zheng, the Palace Master of the Eastern Palace of the Tianqian region. Mu Zheng revealed a warm smile. He swept his gaze across the room and his eyes stopped on Lu Ming for a moment. Well, now the first batch of 50 people heading to the Tianqian Sub-Palace has arrived. You can set off immediately. Remember, in the process of killing the enemy, you must try your best to protect your own safety. I'll be here waiting for your return. Thank you, Palace Master. We will definitely try our best to protect our slaviers. Then we will try our best to kill the enemy and make a contribution. We will spread the divine might of the Eastern Tianqian region. Everyone replied. All right, let's go. Mu Zheng waved his hand. Lu Ming and the others bade farewell to Mu Zheng and set off for Tianqian Sub-Palace. The Tianqian Sub-Palace was located in the middle of the Tianqian region. It was 10 times the size of the eastern part of the Tianqian region, and the spiritual qi was extremely rich. There were many geniuses and experts. Oh. That place was the core of the Tianqian region. Over there was no doubt that the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace would be the hegemon, controlling everything. There were also some small powers that were attached to the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace. There were 2 great clans in the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace that controlled everything. One was the Shang family. The Shang family had an extremely long history. Chapter 505. 505 The Ambush of the Heavenly Corpse Sect. Everyone's expression changed. Oh, that's Suoqiu's voice. He just went to hunt demonic beasts. What happened? What kind of danger did he encounter? Someone shouted. Ah! At this time another scream was heard. It's Zhaoer. He's also hunting demonic beasts. Someone exclaimed. Let's go and take a look. Someone shouted. Then 7 or 8 voices flew in that direction. They stood in the air and looked down. However, it was nighttime after all, and their vision was obstructed. They seemed to be unable to see clearly, so they flew down. In the next moment, screams of pain were heard. In just a few breaths, there was no more sound. 7 to 8 martial king powerhouses had just disappeared without a trace. Enemies, gather together. Hurry up, don't be defeated one by one. A few roars rang out. It was the other 2 lower-tier king tiers. Lu Ming and Zhuang Hong also gathered around the crowd. 40 people were gathered together. What is there? 8 martial kings were taken care of so quickly. Someone said in a serious tone. Shusha. At this time, everyone heard a rustling sound. In the middle of the night, it was particularly horrifying. What is it? Everyone focused their attention and widened their eyes to observe their surroundings. Not good, it's under my feet. Lu Ming suddenly shouted. What? The others were stunned. Bang! Suddenly, a pitch-black beast claw stretched out from beneath the foot of one of the Detian Divine Guards and grabbed one of his feet. What is it? The Detian Divine Guard roared in shock. His cultivation was at the mid-stage of the first level of the Martial King realm. At this moment, he unleashed his full power and slashed at the beast's claw. But a shocking scene happened. When the saber hit the beast's claw, it was as if it had hit some kind of extremely hard steel, and it made a sound of metal clashing. He couldn't cut it. Roar! A beast's roar rang out from the ground. The beast's claw pulled and one of the Detian Divine Guard's legs was torn off. All of this happened in the time it took for a spark to fly off a flint. By the time the crowd reacted, the Detian Divine Guard was already dead. What demonic beast? Die! At the side, a few Detian Divine Guards roared loudly, and violent attacks bombarded the demonic beast. Boom! With a few explosions, a large pit was blasted out in that area, but there was no trace of the demonic beast. Ah! Suddenly, another scream came from another direction. A first-level Martial King Empyrean Heaven Divine Guard was killed by a beast's claw that had extended from the ground. What kind of demonic beast is this? Why can't I feel any aura? Someone shouted in shock. Corpse, that's a demonic beast's corpse. There's no life force at all. Finally, someone discovered the truth. A demonic beast's corpse. Everyone was shocked. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. All of a sudden, a sharp air-piercing sound rang out. From all directions, black shadows shot towards them. It was faster than a sharp arrow. Be careful. With a loud roar, everyone burst out with powerful Zhenyuan. Their bodies were filled with all kinds of light, and beams of light burst out. Boom! Boom! With a loud boom, the black shadows were sent flying back. Who's that? Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. He could clearly see that those black shadows were actually black chains. It's the Heavenly Corpse Sect. Lu Ming shouted. What? The Heavenly Corpse Sect? How did the Heavenly Corpse Sect know that we are here? Someone cried out in disbelief. Although their departure was not a secret, the route they were going to take first was very secretive, and not many people knew about it. How did the Heavenly Corpse Sect find them? Could it be a coincidence? Kaka, I didn't expect that the people from the eastern part of the Tianqian region could recognize us so quickly. This is really unexpected. A cold voice came from the forest in the distance. Who? Whoosh! Then, everyone saw coffins flying out from the surrounding forest. These coffins were big and small. They floated in the air and blocked their way out. There were at least 100 of them. Kachachi! The coffins opened and figures walked out of them. Refined corpses. The first to walk out were all refined corpses. Their faces were pale, and within the paleness, there was a hint of black. His body was wrapped in black iron chains. In addition to these human-shaped refined corpses, there were also beast-shaped ones. Roar! A few black panther-like demonic beasts with red eyes and fangs in their mouths roared. However, there was no sign of life on their bodies. They were also refined corpses. Other than human corpses, the corpses of demonic beasts could also be refined into refined corpses. Demonic beast-type refined corpses were known as demonic corpses. It was obvious that this was the kind of demon corpse that had been hiding underground to launch a sneak attack. Following closely behind these refined corpses were black-robed corpse guards with pale faces. There were more than 200 refined corpses and close to 100 corpse guards. It's no wonder that we've been lying in ambush here for a few days. With 50 martial king corpses, we can refine 50 powerful refined corpses. A corpse guard sneered. How is that possible? How did you know we would pass by here? How could you have set up an ambush in advance? One of the Detian Divine Guards called out in disbelief. You're going to die soon anyway, so there's no harm in telling you. Of course someone informed us. A corpse guard sneered. What? Everyone was shocked. There was a traitor. A traitor had leaked their information to the Heavenly Corpse Sect. Damn it, who is it? Someone roared. Could it be the Sheng family? Lu Ming's mind was racing. His first suspicion was the Sheng family. The Sheng family knew that he was among this group of people, and wanted to use the Heavenly Corpse Sect to get rid of him. However, was there a need to sacrifice the lives of the other 49 Detian Divine Guards? This was too ruthless. You can all go to hell. Close to 100 corpse guards started to control the refined corpses. More than 200 refined corpses were emitting a powerful aura. King, these refined corpses were all king-level refined corpses. 9 of them had extremely powerful auras, and they were actually at the level of lower-tier king tiers. Everyone's expression changed. This was a terrifying force. There were 9 lower-tier refined corpses, 200 refined corpses from Level 1 to Level 3 Martial King Realm, and almost 100 corpse guards. The strength of this energy was several times that of Lu Ming and the rest. In order to deal with them, the Heavenly Corpse sect had actually dispatched so many experts. This was a sure kill. Lu Ming and the rest did not even have the chance to escape. It was because it was impossible to escape in such a situation with such a great disparity in strength. Lu Ming's expression turned extremely grave. Charge! Let's work together and charge in one direction. Zhuanghong roared as he led the charge towards the west. Charge, charge! The other 2 lower-tier king tiers also rushed toward that direction together with Zhuanghong. The others also gathered together and attacked together. Chapter 506. 506 Tragic. You want to rush out? In your dreams. Kill them all. Oh! A corpse guard with an extremely powerful aura shouted. This corpse guard's cultivation had already reached the lower tier of a king. Buzz! Buzz! The sky was filled with iron chains that looked like black poisonous snakes. The black chains either stabbed towards the crowd like spears or wrapped around them like ropes. Clang! 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 Everyone's attacks landed on the chains, but they were all bounced back. Only the attacks of 3 lower-tier king tiers managed to break through dozens of chains. But dash! Buzz! Buzz! The 9 lower-tier refined corpses roared and waved their arms. A few chains flew out from each of them and swept toward the 3 lower-tier kings. With a loud boom, the 3 lower-tier king tiers were also sent flying back, unable to break through. Damn it! What do we do? Some people panicked and couldn't rush out at all. Kill! The corpse guard shouted. The refined corpse roared, and the iron chains swept across the sky, killing everyone. Someone screamed as the chains pierced through his body and he was killed. In a few breaths, another 4 to 5 people were killed. Continue charging. Zhuanghong roared as he charged forward with all his might. However, the 3 of them were completely blocked by the 9 lower-tier king-level refined corpses. It was impossible for them to get out. For a time, everyone was caught in a bitter battle, and people were constantly killed. What do we do? Lu Ming's brows were tightly furrowed. He waved the long spear in his hands, continuously blocking the chains from all directions. The difference between the 3rd and 4th level of the Martial King realm was the dividing line between a lower king and a lower-tier king. Therefore, the difference between the 3rd and 4th level of the Martial King realm was not a simple one but 2 levels. Therefore, although Lu Ming's cultivation had reached the 2nd level of the Martial King realm, he was no match for a king tier of the lower tier of the 4th level. Zhuanghong and the other 2 lower-tier kings were all at Level 4 Martial King realm. If they could not break through, it would be difficult for Lu Ming to do so as well. Ah! Screams rang out. Another person was killed, and his body was dragged out by the chains. At this moment, their numbers were less than 30. Furthermore, Zhuanghong and the other 2 lower-tier king tiers were also in a tough battle. Being besieged by several refined corpses of the same level that were impervious to swords and spears, they were no match for them at all. It had only been a short while, but they had a few more wounds on their bodies. Buzz! Buzz! The chains danced in the air, and one of the lower-tier king tiers was caught by one of them. Damn it, break! The lower-tier king tier roared as he tried to sever the chains. However, after a few consecutive slashes and sparks, only a shallow dent appeared on the chains. Whoosh! A metal chain pierced through his chest. It was as fast as lightning. The Detian Divine Guard roared loudly and tried his best to shift his body to the side. Poochie! The iron chain was like a long spear, directly piercing through his shoulder, and blood splattered everywhere. Don't even think about resisting. Die and become my refined corpse. On the side, the corpse guard's cold laughter came. In your dreams, scumbags of the Heavenly Corpse sect. Don't even think about refining my corpse into a refined corpse. Run! I'll block them. The Detian Divine Guard's eyes were bloodshot as he roared at Zhuanghong and the others. At the same time, the aura on his body went berserk. Damn it, he wants to self-destruct. Stop him! One of the Detian Divine Guard shrieked. Ha ha ha! The Detian Divine Guard laughed loudly. Charge, charge, charge this way! Zhuang Hong and the others gritted their teeth and suddenly changed their direction, madly rushing towards the other side. Boom! At this moment, an earth-shattering explosion was heard, and violent energy spread in all directions. The Detian Divine Guard had self-destructed. The power of a 4th-level lower-tier king-tier self-destruction was beyond imagination. The 9 lower-tier refined corpses were sent flying, and some of the lower-tier refined corpses were directly blown into pieces. With a large number of refined corpses blocked, the pressure on Zhuang Hong and the others was greatly reduced. Boom! Boom! Zhuang Hong, another lower-tier king-tier, Lu Ming, and a few other powerful Empyrean Sky Divine Guards joined forces and blasted a huge hole in the refined corpses' encirclement. Charge! Buzz! Buzz! Immediately they rushed toward the gap. Lu Ming followed closely behind Zhuang Hong and rushed out of the gap. Damn it! Block it! Block it! A large group of corpse guards roared. Iron chains flew across the sky, and that gap was instantly blocked. There were still more than a dozen people who did not manage to escape and were trapped inside. In the next moment, screams rang out one after another. However, Lu Ming and the rest could not care so much because there was still a barrier in front of them, and that was the corpse guard. You want to leave? Impossible. Die. The corpse guards made their moves. Corpse chi surged in all kinds of palm winds, claw gleams, and blade auras that contained corpse chi blasted toward Lu Ming and the others. As long as these corpse guards stopped them for a while, they would be in danger, because those refined corpses would immediately surround them. Boom! Boom! Zhuang Hong and the other lower-tier king-level corpse guards were blocked. The other side was also 2 lower-tier king-level corpse guards. If the corpse guards got rid of the refined corpses, their combat power would be weaker than martial artists of the same level, but it was no problem to hold them back for a short time. He die bastard! A Lever 3 Martial King Realm corpse guard clawed at Lu Ming with its claws. You're the one who's going to die. Lu Ming's gaze was cold. He twisted his spine like a dragon and thrust his spear forward. An extreme strike. After breaking through to the Martial King Realm, the power of an extreme strike was extremely terrifying. Poochie! This corpse guard's head was directly pierced by the spear, and he died. Once this corpse guard died, the few refined corpses he controlled stopped in the air, not moving at all. However, there were too many refined corpses and it didn't matter if a few of them stopped. Buzz! Lu Ming's figure flashed past and he was about to break out of the siege. Stop right there! A cold shout was heard. A saber ray filled with corpse chi was aimed at Lu Ming's waist. Lu Ming held his long spear horizontally and blocked in front of him. Clang! A terrifying force gushed toward Lu Ming. His body trembled and he could not help but retreat. A corpse guard with a pale face and a saber in his hand appeared in front of Lu Ming. Without a doubt, he was a king tier at the lower tier. Buzz! Buzz! At this moment, 9 refined corpses of the lower tier king level were madly rushing over. The iron chains crossed the sky and rushed over. Dandan, smash it! At this moment, Lu Ming shouted in a low voice. Buzz! Dandan, who had been hanging on the ends of her hair, trembled slightly and flew out with a swoosh, smashing towards that corpse guard's face. Ever since Dandan had eaten the heavenly tribulation last time, she seemed to have been digesting it. It was only a few days ago that she had digested it and had a reaction again. Lu Ming fixed his gaze on it. He wondered what the effect would be after he digested the heavens test. It's just a piece of rock, break it! That corpse guard sneered and slashed out a saber ray, wanting to cut Dandan into pieces. However, Dandan completely ignored those blade lights and rushed past, directly smashing towards that corpse guard's face. Bang! A sound that made one's teeth ache was heard. Chapter 507. 507 The situation in the Divine Wilderness Continent. Dandan accurately smashed into the Detian Divine Guard's face. Oh! Ah! The Detian Divine Guard let out a blood-curdling screech and retreated frantically. Lu Ming saw that his face was already smashed to pieces. His facial features were completely deformed and had rotted into a mess. Even his head had almost exploded. If it wasn't for the fact that lower-tier king tiers had extremely strong vitality, an ordinary person would have already lost their life from this injury. Buzz! Buzz! At this moment, the 9 refined corpses of the lower-tier king-level cultivators had arrived. Some of the chains were flying towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming, run! I'll stop them! Zhuang Hong appeared in front of the 9 refined corpses and shouted. Old Zhuang, let's go together! Lu Ming shouted. Let's go together. No one can escape. You should leave quickly. We've been betrayed this time. Someone must escape, find the mastermind and take revenge for us. Zhuang Hong roared. Boom! Immediately after, the true energy within Zhuang Hong's body began to surge. It's this move again. Damn it, move aside and kill the others. Damn it, dodge. The corpse guards all roared. Lu Ming, find the mastermind and take revenge for us. These were Zhuang Hong's last words. As soon as he finished speaking, there was a huge explosion. Zhuang Hong had self-destructed. The terrifying energy swept in all directions, and the corpse guards retreated. Whoosh! Amidst the violent energy waves, a storage ring flew toward Lu Ming. It was Zhuang Hong's storage ring. It was obvious that even if Zhuang Hong were to die, he would not want to let the Heavenly Corpse sect benefit. Lu Ming stretched out his hand and grabbed Zhuang Hong's storage ring. Die! Those from the Heavenly Corpse sect must die. The mastermind must die too. I, Lu Ming, swear that I will avenge you. Lu Ming roared in his heart, bursting with an intense killing intent. Not long ago, Zhuang Hong, the straightforward and burly man, had been drinking and eating with him. Now he had died a tragic death, not even leaving behind a corpse. Lu Ming's killing intent soared to the sky. Dandan! Lu Ming shouted again. Dandan trembled slightly and rushed out again, smashing towards the corpse guard whose face had already been smashed. Bang! This time it was even worse. That corpse guard was almost smashed to death. Gakudopath attack. Lu Ming turned into a ray of spear light and disappeared in a flash. The corpse guard did not have time to react and was killed by Lu Ming. A lower-tier king tier had died just like that. With the corpse guard dead, there was no longer any obstacle in front of Lu Ming. Lu Ming rushed over and devoured the other party's blood essence. At the same time he took the storage ring. Buzz! Buzz! At this moment, a few Detian Divine Guards also took the opportunity to rush out and run away. Chase them, don't let a single one of them escape. A corpse guard roared. Nearly 100 corpse guards took the refined corpses and split into several groups as they chased after the Detian Divine Guards. Brat die! There were also some corpse guards who hid behind the refined corpses and charged at Lu Ming. Heavenly Corpse Sect. I'll remember this. Lu Ming said coldly. He then turned around and stepped out. 9 Dragons Heaven Stomping Steps. Buzz! Using the 9 Dragons Heaven Treading Steps, Lu Ming's speed was so fast that he disappeared into the distance in an instant. No matter how the corpse guards chased, they couldn't catch up. Damn it, this brat got away! A corpse guard unwillingly shouted. Let's go after the others. We can't let more people escape. Immediately after, these corpse guards all chased in several other directions. Lu Ming cast the 9 Dragons Heaven Treading Steps and moved at a terrifying speed. It did not take long for him to appear 100,000 miles away. Buzz! He rushed into a mountain forest, his eyes extremely cold. This time it was too tragic. They had 50 people and almost all of them were annihilated. In the end, only a few people managed to escape. The fate of those few people was also unpredictable, because most of them were injured and might not be able to escape the pursuit of the Heavenly Corpse sect. This time Lu Ming had to thank Dandan. Otherwise, he might not have been able to break out of the encirclement. He also had to rely on the extreme speed of the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps to escape from the Heavenly Corpse Sect's pursuit. Heavenly Corpse Sect will have to settle this score sooner or later. Also, that mastermind behind the scenes. Who's the one who betrayed us? Is it the Sheng family? Lu Ming kept thinking in his heart. Currently, the Sheng family was the most suspicious. After a moment, Lu Ming had an idea and appeared in the Supreme Shrine. Then he began to refine the blood essence. The Corpse Guard was a level 4 Martial King Realm King, a king tier with rich blood essence. Lu Ming used all of it to improve his 9 dragon bloodline. Unfortunately, after the blood essence was completely refined, the 9 dragon bloodline was still at the 6th level of the king tier. It seems that it's too difficult to advance to the 7th level of the king tier. Lu Ming sighed. Up until now, he had never seen anyone with a 7th level king bloodline other than Xian Yanqing. No matter if you were a genius or a demon, you were still a 6th level king. This was the highest level. It seemed that there was a gap between the 6th and 7th level of the king level. Lu Ming pondered for a moment. He then moved his fingers and a few storage rings appeared in his palm. 2 of them belonged to the corpse guards that Lu Ming had killed and 1 belonged to Zhuang Hong. Old Zhuang, I wonder if you have any relatives. When I return to the Eastern Palace, I'll definitely give your storage ring to your relatives. Lu Ming moved his hand and kept Zhuang Hong's storage ring. He then checked the storage rings of the 2 corpse guards. The 2 corpse guards, one at the level 3 Martial King Realm and the other at the level 4 Lower Tier King Realm, had a lot of wealth in their storage rings. There were 5 to 6 secret manuals, one of which was specifically on how to refine corpses. Lu Ming casually flipped through it and put it away. What Lu Ming valued the most were the top-grade spiritual crystals. The 2 storage rings added up to a total of 180,000 pieces. This was already considered quite a lot. As for the ultimacy crystals, there was not a single one. Lu Ming was a little disappointed. After packing up, Lu Ming waved his hand and a total of 20,000 pieces of top-grade spiritual crystals floated in the air. Lu Ming wanted to continue to improve his cultivation. His cultivation base was still too weak. With Lu Ming's current combat strength, he could definitely crush anyone in the Cloud Emperor mountain range. No one could withstand one move from him. However, that was only in the Cloud Emperor mountain range. In a bigger stage such as the entire Tianxian region, it was not enough. For example, if Lu Ming had the cultivation of a lower tier king, Zhuang Hong and the rest would not have died and they would not have been nearly annihilated. Strength was supreme. Moreover, the heavenly profound region was only a small region among the many territories under the control of the entire Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace. The Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace was only one of the 4 strongest forces in the Eastern Barren Territory. The Divine Wilderness Continent was divided into Central Continent, Eastern Wilderness, Southern Nether, Western Desert and Northern Plains. The Eastern Barren Territory was just one of the 5 vast regions of the Divine Wilderness Continent. Lu Ming's current location could only be said to be a corner of the Divine Wilderness Continent. Bang! 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 The 20,000 pieces of supreme-grade spirit crystals exploded one after another. The 9 dragon bloodline opened its mouth and sucked in a huge amount of heaven and earth spiritual qi. Then it began to refine them crazily. Chapter 508. 508 Chapter 508 Framed. Lu Ming's cultivation level began to increase rapidly. When one reached level 2 Martial King Realm, the amount of spiritual crystals needed to improve one's cultivation would also increase greatly. Lu Ming's cultivation had only advanced from the early stage of the 2nd level of the Martial King Realm to the middle stage after refining 50,000 pieces of top-grade spiritual crystals. 50,000 yuan. When he was at level 1 Martial King Realm, he only needed 30,000 spiritual crystals to advance 1 level. When he reached level 2 Martial King Realm, he needed 50,000 spiritual crystals. Lu Ming did not stop. He kept taking out top-grade spirit crystals. Upgrade, crazy upgrade. In less than a day, Lu Ming had refined all 180,000 pieces of spiritual crystals. His cultivation had also risen to the peak of the second level of the Martial King realm. If he wanted to break through to the third level of the Martial King realm, he would need more resources. The next moment, Lu Ming left the Supreme Shrine and looked to the west. Tianqian Sub-Palace, Sheng family. I, Lu Ming, am here. Buzz. With a flash of light, Lu Ming turned into a ray of light and rushed toward Tianqian Sub-Palace. Not long after, he passed by the place where he was ambushed by the Heavenly Corpse sect. At this moment, other than some blood on the ground, there was no other trace. The corpses of the Detian Divine Guards must have been taken away by the Heavenly Corpse sect. Lu Ming stopped for a moment, then turned into a ray of light and continued to Tianqian Sub-Palace. Since Lu Ming was traveling alone, his speed was much faster. He took 7 days to arrive at the half-month journey that he had previously scheduled. In front of them, an ancient city appeared. The city was black in color and there were marks left by swords, spears, and sabers on it. It was filled with the aura of time, as if it had crossed time and space from ancient times. The city was not large and it was much smaller than the Myriad Star City. However, the reputation of this city was much stronger than that of the Myriad Star City. This was because this city was called Tianqian City. This Tianqian City was the Heavenly Emperor Divine Palace's branch palace in the Tianqian region. It was said that Tianqian City had existed for countless years. It had been preserved from the ancient era for over 1,000,000 years. This city had been built by human powerhouses in ancient times. The entire city was built on a super-large spirit eye and a Tao eye. The spiritual eye could provide endless spiritual qi. Therefore, the spirit qi in Tianqian City was the densest in the Tianqian region. The Tao eye contained the Tao of heaven and earth. It was said that anyone who cultivated in Tianqian City would be able to comprehend force and intent much faster than anywhere else. Having grown up in Tianqian City, it could be said that he was blessed by the heavens. Hence, there was not a single ordinary person in Tianqian City. There were only people from the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace. If people outside the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace wanted to enter, they would have to pay a huge price. Within 1,000 miles of Tianqian City, there were 8 huge satellite cities. They surrounded Tianqian City like stars surrounding the moon, providing Tianqian City with an endless stream of resources. Lu Ming looked around for a while before he flew toward Tianqian City. When Lu Ming was within 10 miles of Tianqian City, he suddenly felt a strong pressure on his body. Lu Ming could not help but land. As expected, there's an inscription formation in Tianqian City that restricts one's flight. Lu Ming's gaze flickered. He was well aware of this. The entire Tianqian City had been engraved with a powerful inscription formation by the experts of the ancient era. It was so strong that it was difficult for outsiders to break through. At the same time, there was also a flight prohibiting formation. Even a martial king would find it difficult to fly, let alone a martial grandmaster. Lu Ming had heard that one had to be at least a peak-tier king to fly in Tianqian City. Lu Ming walked toward Tianqian City. The gate of Tianqian City opened, and people came in and out occasionally. There was a group of soldiers standing guard at the gate. Each soldier exuded a powerful aura. So strong. There are 15 of them, and 5 of them are lower-tier king tiers. The other 10 are all level 3 martial kings. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat when he saw a group of soldiers at the city gate. This was only a group of soldiers guarding the gate, yet they were already so terrifying. He really didn't know how many powerhouses were entrenched in Tianqian City. There was no doubt that there were as many experts as there were clouds in the sky. 8/10 of the experts from the Empyrean Heavenly Divine Palace in the entire Tianqian region were here. Lu Ming strode toward the city gate. Stop, who are you? Only disciples of the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace can enter this place. If you are not a member of the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace, you better leave as soon as possible. If not, I will kill you without mercy. A soldier in iron armor stared at Lu Ming. His gaze was like 2 sharp swords piercing Lu Ming. I am Lu Ming, a Detian Divine Guard of the Eastern Palace. This is my Divine Guard token. Lu Ming took out his Divine Guard token and handed it to the armored soldier. The Detian divine guards from the Eastern Palace. The armored soldier was a little confused. He took the token and scanned it with his mind. Then his eyes calmed down. It's really the Detian divine guards from the Eastern Palace, and it's even the newest one. Could it be that you've been sent from the East as reinforcements? But why are you here alone? The armored soldier mumbled in confusion as he returned the token to Lu Ming. Can I enter the city now? Lu Ming asked. Since they're Detian divine guards, they're naturally allowed to enter the city. The armored soldier said with a smile. Lu Ming was about to enter the city when an inharmonious voice was heard. Little bastard, is that you? You're not dead yet? A gloomy voice called out. Lu Ming was stunned and looked at the city gate. A few figures walked out from the city gate. One of them was staring at Lu Ming with a dark expression. Holy sky! Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. He did not expect to encounter the holy sky as soon as he arrived. There were two other young men beside the holy sky, but Lu Ming had never seen them before. Shengkong, is he the guy in the east you were talking about? A tall young man looked at Lu Ming coldly. That's right, it's him. Killing intent flashed in Shengkong's eyes. He looked at Lu Ming and said, Lu Ming, I didn't expect you to be so lucky. Shengkong, what do you mean? Could it be that you knew I would be in danger? Lu Ming's eyes flickered as he said. Could it be that the Sheng family had really informed the Heavenly Corpse sect and betrayed them? What's so strange about that? We received news 2 days ago that the first batch of reinforcements sent by the Eastern Palace was ambushed by the Heavenly Corpse sect on the way. They were completely annihilated, and none of them managed to escape. You are among the first batch of people, right? Shengkong said with a cold smile. Not bad. Lu Ming said. How dare you, Lu Ming? How dare you betray the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace, collude with the Heavenly Corpse sect, and cause the death of dozens of Empyrean Heaven Divine Guards. You deserve to die. Today, I'll cripple you as a warning to the others. Shengkong suddenly shouted. Shengkong, what nonsense are you talking about? Lu Ming's expression was calm as he said coldly. Nonsense? Lu Ming, how did the Heavenly Corpse sect know about your whereabouts? If someone hadn't linked up with the Heavenly Corpse sect, how could this have happened? Furthermore, the first batch of king tiers had been completely annihilated, and there were even 3 lower-tier king tiers among them. You're not a traitor. Who else could you be? Go! Shengkong shouted, looking righteous. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.